question here in this first round. But
and I feel like if he does a good job, they can actually win this matchup.
Well, this is the blind pick. It's going to be that Destruction Warlock Death Knight. We saw this play out yesterday. Very close series against Change My Mind. The competition actually went 2-2. They lost the first one in the mirror, and this is elimination, guys. So we want to know what you think. You can vote in the chat for who you think is going to win between M2KC and Resurgent. Very much a summer finals. I mean, this is really important. The loser of this is eliminated in 7th place. The winner has a very good shot at the summer finals.
Ooh, M2KC getting the lead early on with that crowd control chain. Burning through the Dark Iron Dwarf racial of Mageddon early on. Now we are waiting for the crowd control to be re-engaged. Resurgent initiating first, and they're also taking the same strategy from the Penguins of attacking the healer when they get up close and personal. This could be a lot of pressure for RMPal, but so far it seems so good. He's able to line of sight Mageddon. Valido isn't doing too much, or wreaking too much havoc. Now we see Zach sitting through crowd control. Mageddon isolated. Heavy burst damage from M2KC. Smoke bomb dropped. Zach looking to get inside of that as soon as possible. Going to use the ultimate sacrifice, redirect the damage, break the crowd control, and save the day.
And this is one of the most difficult situations to be in. When you're playing a class you're not the most comfortable in, being tunneled down by an assassination rogue and a mage and still doing your job, getting out fears, getting out chaos bolts, getting out the counter pressure that you really need is no easy task. But so far, Resurgent, they've been able to hold on. Zach has burned through some of his cooldowns, Trinket, Blessing of Protection, Ultimate Sacrifice, actually a lot of his defensive cooldowns. There's massive pressure in favor of M2KC, and so far, Resurgent, they've been really struggling to find damage. Finally, RMPal getting pressured back a little bit, but I'm still not sold. I feel like RMPal on the Holy Paladin, it's a much easier healer to deal with these swaps. When he wants to, he can use his Avenging Crusader, he can push in, he can get aggressive, he can top himself as well as his team off, and I just feel like the Holy Paladin isn't nearly as susceptible as the Restoration Druid train down we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and honestly, that was such a great setup here from M2KC with the Dragon's Breath over onto Valido to shut down that stop. And like Jamil is going for another one, gets a polymorph on that Divine Favor. Zach is going to use his Divine Shield there, but Mageddon is still in big trouble here. Second Blessing of Protection comes out, Anti-Magic Zone comes out. A lot of cooldowns, and I got to agree with you here, Van, because when we saw this matchup between Penguins and Change My Mind yesterday, that was against the Restoration Druid. I mean, Koike was an exposed target. With the Holy Paladin, I feel like that's going to be a much harder target to take down, and we see Mageddon now going in for another setup here, trying to reverse the pressure.
Zach has used pretty much every cooldown. Both members in crowd control. This is dangerous for Mageddon. Unending Resolve may not be enough if they can continue the chain. If they don't land the Ring of Frost, Jamili needs to secure a polymorph, but he's feared away. They're trying to stall polymorph as long as possible. They have a full blind with no way out.
Good night.
Mageddon interrupted, and this should be a KO for M2KC in game 1. Mageddon falls. And M2KC looking solid.
Snares in general.
Yeah, it's a meteor punch for sure from the Fire Mage. We'll have to see how it does play out here in game 2, of course. Bear in mind, this is an elimination series, guys. Resurgent are currently 20 points behind Method Orange and The Move, so I suppose if you're a fan of those two teams, you're hoping to see them eliminated here, but at the same time, M2KC, very much a threat, and they're looking good in the first series of the day.
Wondering how much Zach has improved on the Restoration Druid. That's going to be a main point of contention for Resurgent, as he was the Paladin player in basically almost every other class, but the Druid is one that we've not seen him on. He's currently sitting through a lot of crowd control. Valido is trying to stabilize Mageddon with the anti-magic zone. And it looks like it is going to be enough for Mageddon to survive. Zach gets out of the crowd control. No significant cooldowns forced from M2KC in their first assault. Jamili being pushed back. RMPal struggling a bit to recover. Mageddon in pursuit.
Yeah, Jamili is going to be taking some damage. Dragon's Breath defensively onto Valido. Getting interrupted. There comes the smoke bomb. Big damage coming in from M2KC as RMPal moves in, secures the Hammer of Justice over onto Zach. And Jamili unfortunately unable to find any additional crowd control, but if they can get Mageddon low, Roasty still has his blind, so he can set up his team with the blind if Mageddon is falling just a little bit behind. But there's been decent pressure here for Resurgent so far. Surprising, actually. Valido manages to steal a polymorph with the Dark Simulacrum from Jamili, putting RMPal and allowing Jamili to actually take quite a bit of burst damage. Temporal Shield, this could easily be the Cauterize. Massive damage. Actually, the Ultimate Sacrifice comes in from RMPal as he lands a huge heal on his team.
M2KC have been playing a bit slow here. They're trying to bait cooldowns. Hopefully, I think they're banking on the inexperience of Resurgent. They were expecting them to panic. They go for Smoke Bomb without any aggressive cooldowns to try and trick Mageddon or Zach into overcommitting, but Resurgent didn't fall for that bait. And even though they are inexperienced on the Warrior Warrior and the Restoration Druid respectively. M2KC are going to have to press the issue if they can't find anything with their baits. Roasty gets disarmed on the swap over to Zach. Barkskin going to trade for the Avenging Crusader, however not for the Vendetta. Fortunately, blind not available for some time, so unlikely we see that punished too significantly. Mageddon being swapped back to. Zach getting caught in a poly, unfortunately breaks. That's a bit of a mistake by M2KC. Now Resurgent have an opening.
Yeah, definitely. Jamili pushes in very aggressive, and RubCub gets caught into a bash on his Avenging Crusader. Luckily, he has a trinket for it, and he can top off his team. Now Zach's in some trouble. He's got no Barkskin. He's got no trinket. Jamili on the back foot also could go down. Blessing Protection comes in. Zach in a lot of trouble. Equally so, Jamili still has the Cauterize. Still has the Ice Block. Does not want to throw away the game. Resurgent putting out a surprising amount of pressure with this composition. Zach is definitely in a little bit of trouble right now, but another Polymorph was stolen by Valido. This could be the Ice Block of Jamili.
Ice Block from Jamili. What is going on right now? I think M2KC, perhaps they're a bit disrespectful towards the TSG of Resurgent. I mean, at this point, they're very far behind on cooldowns. Maybe they have to commit to swapping to Zach later in dampening, go for a kill on Valido, try and maintain RubCub's mana. I think that's what their game plan is they go for another attack, but Zach was in bear farm, and he was ready for the stun. Is it going to matter? It might not matter.
Is it going to matter?
Very low on health. Gladiator Safeguard. Where's the spell steal? Doesn't look like they have it. They're going to have to try and burn through it. They force Iron Bark as well. Perhaps if they just keep tunneling them, they outright kill him. Zach is having a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nightmare situation for Zach. Anti-Magic Zone drops out, but Jamili's going to be ready with that spell steal, and Zach, he's still in so much trouble. Kidney Shot will seal the deal. M2KC.
If they are to come back in this series, they face elimination. They're already behind with regard to summer finals qualification. Resurgent, quite frankly, need a miracle if they are to stay alive in this tournament and stay alive in the summer season.
They did manage to at least get an Ice Block from Jamili in game number 2, so this composition looking a bit better overall for Resurgent. Although they locked in a small map where Zach is going to even be further exposed. I'm not a big fan of the map selection. Zach immediately the target for M2KC. Valido trying to save him, dropping that anti-magic zone for the combustion, a fair exchange, but also overlapped with the Barkskin, and even with the overlap, Zach is still struggling.
Yeah, the next stun will likely be Zach's trinket, and then I think the next stun is likely Zach is going to be going down, but we'll have to see. Roasty's still all over him. Jamili kind of struggling to stay on target. Double Dragon's Breath comes in. This is one of the problems when you leave a Fire Mage alone. He could just bully your melee with Dragon's Breath, with Ring of Frost. However, Jamili's taking so much damage. A Polymorph was stolen once again. Honestly, Jamili's been a little bit sloppy with that in this match. He has to be careful. He can't just be giving Valido free Polymorphs in the match for RubCub to get caught in crowd control. That will cost him his first Ice Block.
It does feel like M2KC are a bit overconfident. They obviously know Colo is no longer competing, so they're probably thinking, oh, Zach, Resto Druid, he hasn't had a lot of time to play. Mage and Warrior, we'll just smack him around and have an easy time. But if they even make one mistake, Valido is here to try and carry the team. Perhaps he can if Jamili is not cautious of those situations. Still tunneling Zach. He's done a good job to survive so far, stunning RubCub in line of sighting. Resurgent with good counter pressure on Jamili. Temporal Shield activates to absorb these hits. Big heal connects along with RubCub, immediately stabilizing Jamili. Jamili attacking Mageddon. Looks like they want to switch to the Warrior. M2KC abandoning Zach as the target, dropping the Smoke Bomb. They get the Gladiator's Medallion from Mageddon. Oh, Zach getting caught in a Polymorph. Big mistake by him on the Restoration. Druid definitely needed to look to shapeshift that Polymorph off the back of the Shimmer, although it doesn't look to be of too much consequence. Mageddon now securing crowd control on RubCub. Jamili still the pressure point for Resurgent. Double Frost Nova onto both Valido and Mageddon. Jamili creating space. Roasty's trying to pressure Mageddon away. Zach in a position like he wants to try and drink. RubCub's charging over for a Hammer of Justice. Doesn't actually land it. Now Zach is going to play Ring Around the Rosie with RubCub, and it may be difficult for RubCub to land it. He mounts up again on his Divine Steed, securing the Hammer of Justice. Triple crowd control. Solid push from M2KC.
Yeah, Mageddon's going to be in so much trouble. Dive of the Sword comes in. Maledict just soaking up all of those heals. Dark Iron Door Fireblood will remove the Maledict and allow Mageddon to receive just a little bit of healing, but the crowd control is not over. Garrote Silence over onto Zach. Do they have follow-up? Ironbark and Avatar. Surely enough to keep Mageddon alive, but that was a huge trade from Resurgent. A great offensive push, and you can see M2KC, they've got the Vendetta rolling, but they have to keep Jamili alive. He's got no Ice Block. RubCub trades out the Ultimate Sacrifice, but they just might win with a Hammer of Justice on Zach. The damage is just too much for him to heal through. Mageddon falls. M2KC advance. and they're looking strong.
Yeah. Much is their summer finals qualification. They need to win this to even have a chance of playing against either the boys or Method Orange later today.
And I mean, this is not an easy composition for them to go into. If Grayson can play Death Knight at a pretty high level, Baby Cakes is a very experienced Windwalker Monk. Flop, obviously a phenomenal Restoration Druid. Getchur Boy Dog could be taking down the move. You'll have to see what the move can do. We know them for finding surprise swaps, surprise win conditions. They're going to have to get something done in this game.
Getchur Boy Dog play a lot of Mage Druid compositions on the ladder, so if I was the move going into the blind pick, I'm expecting some type of Mage Druid, not a Death Knight Windwalker. Getchur Boy Dog get the surprise factor in game number 1, and assuming that Grayson can play up to par, they should have the composition advantage. This is awful for the move. If they lose the blind pick, they won't get the swing match advantage. They won't be able to have the map selection and the counter pick for game number 5 should this series swing back and forth. They cannot afford to lose this, but they're fighting at a disadvantage.
Yeah, there's the Touch of Karma. Fortifying Brew been traded out. Flop with no Trinket. This is actually a little bit scary here for Baby Cakes, but he needs to get in there. He needs to keep the damage rolling. Kidney Shot committed by Peekaboo. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that Kidney Shot. Baby Cakes going to be completely fine, and now he's going to be, you know, feeling pretty safe, making an offensive push here on WizK. At least he got the bleeds up. Flop moving forward, gets the full bash over onto Absurge. Peekaboo denies a Cyclone with a Vanish Cheap Shot. Very nicely done. Grip on Absurge. Triple leg sweep comes in. Baby Cakes and Grayson getting a lot of damage rolling, but WizK, he's low on health, but he still has so many defensive cooldowns he can rotate through.
Move playing well defensively. Good management in terms of cooldowns. Mana fairly even between the teams. Perhaps Baby Cakes the most far behind in the match. Likely needing to be careful with the Smoke Bomb available from Peekaboo. WizK fading the Fists of Fury, definitely a good trade on that powerful attack. Certainly the hardest hitting, one of the hardest hitting spells of the Windwalker outside of the Touch of Death. Grayson getting swapped to a bit, although going to be not too much consequence, healing himself back up with that Death Strike. Baby Cakes getting stunned up. Flop looking to deny the damage there with Iron Bark. Mana evening out, but starting to burn down on both sides. Only 2 minutes in. Big push on WizK with crowd control and Absturge, netting the Gladiator Safeguard as well as Dispersion. 2 cooldowns for 1 crowd control. Not too great of an exchange for the move early on.
Yeah, WizK is going to be taking quite a bit of damage. If we look at mana, Absurge is already hovering around 50%, maybe a little bit more. 2.5 minutes into the game. Baby Cakes and Grayson, if they can stay on target, they're going to be putting out a lot of damage, and Absurge has to spend a lot of mana to heal through that damage. Flop, at some point, might have to try to escape and go for a drink. His mana is not doing great, and we do know the Restoration Druid, he's going to be burning through mana a lot quicker than the Restoration Shaman. Absurge actually tried to sneak away and potentially go for a drink there. Doesn't want to wait too long, though, fall behind, but WizK's keeping himself nice and healthy with his Vampiric Embrace. All the damage he's dealing heals him up for a little bit, and that's what allowed Absurge a little bit of freedom to try to go for a drink, but it's just so difficult to escape, get out of combat when you're playing against Unholy Death Knight. I feel like it's very unlikely we ever see Absurge have that opportunity.
WizK gonna fade as Gladiator's Maledict was activated onto him. Flop looks like he's trying to drink. Who's gonna stop Flop? No one right now. Absurge is trying to get there, but does he know where he is? I don't think he does. Flop is gonna return to the fight with full mana. We have seen the move, though, sometimes opt to just ignore drinks and play for the deep dampening game.
Whoa.
Crushed right now. Great pressure from Getchur Boy Dog. That's going to net them a Void Shift, only 3.5 minutes in. Peekaboo trying to carry the team here and get their team back on track. Stunning up Baby Cakes in a Smoke Bomb, but not even finding a Touch of Karma, and that's going to be devastating if they can't push through for it. Now finally getting it thanks to WizK's silence.
Yeah, he was able to just spell off the Gladiator Safeguard also. Baby Cake's not going to be able to really rely on that with how much WizK can dispel. WizK has already traded out the Void Shift, Greater Fade as well. If they can get the Dispersion, it's going to be a massive victory here for Getchur Boy Dog. Baby Cakes and Grayson, they're still looking to make that offensive push. Look at mana, Absurge hovering around 25%. Flop with that drink is just way ahead. But the move, I think they can hold on to limited amounts of mana for quite some time. We'll have to see. Getchur Boy Dog, they have to play a very consistent game. There is, of course, opportunities for the move. Baby Cakes, not too many defensives left. If the overextends and Peekaboo and WizK can get the damage they want out, You could definitely take him down in a surprise kill.
Absurge is now almost completely out of mana, 30 seconds away from dampening in crowd control. It's not looking good. I think that Jelly Beans is going to have to be taken off the bench. That Rogue Mage Paladin is what they've been relying on to beat the Windwalker Death Knight compositions. Getchur Boy Dog are looking like a formidable Windwalker Death Knight. I'm not sure if the move are going to be able to pull off this victory. Flop jumping in, stunning Absurge right at the end of his cast, wasting as much of Absurge's time as possible, maximizing his healing reduction as well. WizK going to activate the Vampiric Embrace once again, trying to recover alongside the Earthen Wall Totem of Absurge, but still just getting beaten up by Getchur Boy Dog. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc for him. They're shredding right through it. They're cutting through WizK like butter.
Yeah, Peekaboo with the Vendetta. Babycakes could be in some trouble. Mana once again flop. He's about even with Absurge, just a little bit ahead, but if the move can hold on, if they can keep up this pressure, Flop's going to have to try to sit down for a drink, and he is. He might be able to recover some mana here. Absurge needs to shut that down as soon as he can. What was Flop able to get done? He's just sitting in stealth. If he comes back at full mana, I think this is going to be a disaster for the move. What could they possibly do? They need to try to take Babycakes down. Absurge is almost completely tapped. We're at 5% dampening. WizK with no defensive cooldowns left. Getchur Boy Dog is looking prime in game number 1.
Yeah, Getchur Boy Dog have a solid strategy here. Grayson's looking great on the Death Knight, and this was an awesome blind pick by them. They know that all the other teams in the competition expect them to play Mage Druid, so they play the antithesis of it to try and counter the counter pick, and that's a great move by Getchur Boy Dog, and I think they're going to be able to take game number 1 quite quickly. This is the fastest I think the move have been taken down in a game in some time. WizK hovering on 10%, blowing through most of his defensive lineup. Absurge continues to be crowd controlled. Touch of Death is about to explode. Triple leg sweep, and this should be a KO for WizK. Huge hits coming in, and Getchur Boy Dog smashed the move.
Absolutely incredible.
Next Blizzard for I think the 12 seconds to be free of cast time, and you're just going to be looking to do that to reset the cooldown of Orb, and then eventually in dampening, those Frozen Orbs are really going to start digging. You can see Jelly Beans right now going for a Blizzard with that Frozen Orb immediately.
All right, let's see if Jelly Beans has leveled up his mage enough to the caliber that the move need him at, and they need him the most. This Mage Rogue Druid is the only way I think the move will be able to qualify to the summer finals. Their Rogue Shadowpriest Shaman, it's good for counter picking, but when they meet these melee cleaves, the Death Knight compositions, they almost certainly need Jelly Beans in the arena to find victory. But has he polished his skills on the mage enough to take down the competition?
I mean, that's really going to be the question. Anti-Magic Zone trades out by Grayson, I guess for the Vendetta. They're really respecting the Vendetta cooldown coming in from Peekaboo. He's going to be the playmaker in this game. Peekaboo at this point, he's played with a lot of good mages, he's played with a lot of good druids, so he's going to have to try to instruct Absurge, instruct Jelly Beans on exactly how they're actually going to find victory in this game. There's good pressure on Babycakes, there's good pressure on Grayson. Flop's struggling at this moment. Babycake's taking quite a bit of burst damage. He is playing the Ride the Wind to empower his Flying Serpent Kick. That little cloud you see on the ground is going to allow Grayson and Babycakes the ability to get out of snares and basically not get snared while they're in it. So it's going to be important Jelly Beans decides to get away from that as soon as possible. He wants to get off that Ride the Wind cloud, try to get snares reapplied to Grayson and Babycakes, and really limit the damage he's taking.
Grayson targeted here. All the move have to do is survive, make it deeper into dampening, and then go for attacks on the Death Knight. If they can maintain their mana and stay alive, then they should be advantaged and favored. But let's just assume and run through this game and say the move win game 2. What composition do Getchur Boy Dog counterpick into the Rogue Mage Druid? Do they play Rogue Mage Druid themselves? Or do they play the Windwalker Mage? Or do they have to play the Windwalker Death Knight on a smaller map?
I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. I feel like maybe they'll go for a Mage Druid mirror and they feel confident playing into Jelly Beans, playing into Absurge with Flop and Grayson, you know, being Mage main and a Druid main. But I think without the Assassination Rogue, it's going to be difficult. Maybe Peekaboo really can carry the series on that Rogue.
Well, let's see if Peekaboo can do it here. The move face elimination. They're already down 1 point in series, and they really can't afford to go out this early on with only 2 cups remaining in the summer season. They have not secured their spot yet to the summer finals, let alone even BlizzCon. So this could be the entire year for the move if they have a bad performance. Flop interrupted, falling behind. Pressure is solid from the move so far. Flop's mana is draining infinitely faster. The pressure has been so high from the move. And man, I mean, if their Rogue Mage Druid can look solid, I'm almost wondering if they can mirror Cloud9. That would be entertaining to see later on in the tournament if that is the case.
I highly doubt that. I feel like
so?
I feel like for the move, the Rogue Mage Druid is going to be a counter pick for these Cleaves. That's what they need an answer for. Going into a mirror match against Cloud9, I think would be an absolute disaster. But I could be wrong. Maybe they could win. Flop actually managed to sneak away for a drink, so that mana lead we talked about, that is dissipated. Now Flop, he's got the mana lead. Things not looking too bad for Getchur Boy Dog at this moment. The move, they need to make sure they're shutting down these drinks. And if I can critique the move at anything, is they do a really bad job tracking healers. They're just constantly letting Flop drink, and this is something I've seen from them in the past. And they need to smarten up, because if they're not getting that mana lead in this matchup, they could easily lose.
Jellybeans bashed by Flop, taking a huge hit here. Absurd just trying to stabilize with Iron Bark, but even still struggling, costing a lot of mana. Although Ashamane's Fall was a smart selection and map from the move, it should be much easier for Absurd to drink and regenerate mana as a result, as I believe he is currently trying to do. Grayson with some bad pet management here, his Ghoul attacking Jellybeans rather than chasing Absurd to stop drinks. This could be okay if they manage to force an Ice Block with it, but not finding it. Absurd's going to activate Thorns. It's going to be a lot of redirected damage back at Baby Cakes and Grayson. I love that they combined Thorns with the Frozen Orb. That's a huge burst of damage onto 2 targets as a result. Peekaboo setting up for a kill here with the Shadow Step kick. Grayson denies the kill, placing down the anti-magic zone. It is going to also answer the Icy Vein, so more than a fair trade from Grayson. Good awareness, good trade from Getchur Boy Dog, and they continue to pressure Jellybeans.
Yeah, Jellybean's under fire. He's got the Temporal Shield. He's got an Ice Block. What is he going to do? He's in trouble. Absurge throws over the Iron Bark, trying to keep him stable, trying to keep him healthy. He should be able to survive. He's got 4 minutes left on that Cold Snap. Baby Cake's in a little bit of trouble. He's got the touch of Karma if he needs it. Is he going to trade it out? He's getting really low. He's caught into a stun. Baby Cakes doesn't want to be throwing. Gladiator's Maledict flies in from Absurge, trying to soak up some of that healing Flop has available. Baby Cakes is still low. Absurge is struggling. Flop really struggling to keep Baby Cakes alive. The Kleptomania Spellsteal doing work here for Jellybeans. The move have completely recovered, and now it's going to be Baby Cakes on the back foot running away.
All right, let's see if he can keep running away. Caught in the smoke bomb, but Flop is right beside him, so unlikely to be too much pressure. Peekaboo is overextending a bit with no Gladiator's Medallion. He's got to be careful if he gets stunned around the pillar. Flop and Baby Cakes could burst him down. Absurge is trying to drink while his team is crowd controlled. And it looks like he's going to come back to the fight with full mana, which is exactly what he needs to do. Just keep resetting, try to maintain as many cooldowns as possible, moving into dampening. Big hit here on the Peekaboo. We see Getchur Boy Dog switching targets. Absurge is falling behind, activating the Iron Bark, but on the wrong target. Iron Bark on Jellybeans, not Peekaboo. So Peekaboo took a much larger amount of damage than he should have in that situation and is still behind as a result. Baby Cakes, though, in trouble, needing to Transcendence away, and sometimes attacking is the best defense. Peekaboo could have been vulnerable, but he just out-damages Baby Cakes and Grayson and forces Baby Cakes to run away. If they're running away, they can't kill you, so the move using offense as defense. Absurge lobbying some extra damage with those Solar Wraths towards Grayson, but with those Death Strikes, he is stabilizing. Not entirely, though. Potentially an Icebound Fortitude, potentially the end of the game. Gladiator Safeguard gets spell stolen off by Jellybeans. Flop is still counterspelled. Icebound Fortitude may not be enough here at 8% dampening, just the tiniest bit more damage. Beautiful Cyclone at low health. If they can switch crowd control to Flop, it may be the end of the game, but no one's in position. It doesn't look like they want to overextend. Instead, just continuing to hammer damage.
Yep, Grayson in a kidney shot. Flop tries to respond. He's trying to play catch-up right now with that Iron Bark and does manage to do so. It looks like Grayson is going to be able to stabilize at 10% dampening. Jellybeans bounces his health to full with the Temporal Shield. Still just running, still just hiding. And the move, they're implementing the right strategy. Do damage, don't die. Grayson's getting low. Flop really can't keep him alive. And he does fall. I mean, that was big.
But they're not running with the Rogue. They're running with the Windwalker. And compositionally, would you say that they're at a disadvantage, or is it a little bit more even?
Rogue Mage Druid should win this matchup. But we'll see. I mean, Flop and Grayson, they have a lot of experience together, a lot of practice together. Jellybeans and Absurge, we'll have to see. The one thing the move has going for them is Peekaboo. Peekaboo, the boy wonder. What is he going to be able to get done on that Assassination Rogue? He's very experienced at training down mages, shutting them down, and if Jellybeans and Absurge can back him up properly, I feel like the move could win this match and turn that swing match in their favor.
All right, let's see if they can pull it off here. Baby Cakes popping some damage onto Jellybeans. Absurge currently crowd controlled by Flop. This could easily be an ice block if Jellybeans isn't careful. Gladiator Safeguard procs, absorbing some hits, but He does trade out the Ice Block ultimately. The Gladiator's Maledict absorbing a lot of healing, and the move already behind.
Yeah, that was not a great exchange. Jellybeans, he had his Temporal Shield there. He might have been able to survive if he had traded that out. Things are looking a little bit scary here for the move. Good pressure so far by Getchur Boy Dog. Grayson still hasn't had to use his first Ice Block. Jellybeans is being trained down. Good control coming in from Getchur Boy Dog. And at this point, they're asserting their Mage Druid dominance.
Yeah, definitely asserting dominance here in game number 3. Getchur Boy Dog looking to move to match point. Although, if they do win this game, what is their best composition for the next match? I mean, if they blind lock the Windwalker Death Knight, almost certainly they're going to be going into the Rogue Mage Druid. So maybe they should just blind lock the Windwalker Mage, try and do their best into the Shadow Priest Rogue. Do you think they'd have a better odds with that comp?
Probably. I mean, with the way the move played the last game, it looked really difficult for Getchur Boy Dog. It's obvious the move has practiced that strategy. It's obviously they know what they're doing, and honestly, I don't really think there's much Getchur Boy Dog can do. If they're playing Windwalker Death Knight into the Frost Mage, Assassination Rogue, Restoration Druid, I think that's a complete nightmare situation. Like I said, we saw Cloud9 play against the boys. The boys, I would say, are probably one of the best Windwalker, or if not the best, Windwalker Death Knight right now in North America, and they basically were made to look like fools in that matchup. So I don't know if that is a winning matchup. It seems like with the way the Frost Mage, Restoration Druid, Rogues play, it's just so difficult to actually get victory. Right now, there's good pressure from the move. They might be able to net an Ice Block from Grayson. He's got the Temporal Shield. Peekaboo lands the Shadow Step kick. Flop with his Iron Bark, still not able to heal through the damage. Peekaboo sets up a blind, full blind play. Now on to Flop. He trinkets out. Grayson's still a little bit low. Gladiator Safeguard procs. He blinks immediately out of that Smoke Bomb from Peekaboo, and they actually still managed to get the Ice Block. Nice Cyclone coming in from Upsurge. Full Polymorph snuck in, and all of a sudden, things are looking good for the move.
Yeah, the move in a solid position here with Flop still crowd controlled. Now he's out. He's looking to stabilize through the Comet Storm hit. Baby Cake's going to drop a Ring of Peace, preventing Peekaboo from connecting. So instead, Upsurge going to Cyclone Grayson and prevent any sort of significant recovery. Mana, surprisingly even, only 3 minutes in here. Ice Block available in another minute and 30 for Jellybeans. How do you feel about this from Jellybeans, not using the Cold Snap immediately, playing very similarly to Alec, and I know you were critical of that.
I don't think it's necessarily the best choice. I mean, we'll see. Sometimes it can pay off. It certainly is a gamble, though. I mean, if this point in the game, Jellybeans has to trade out his Cold Snap as well as another Ice Block, then he puts himself way behind on that third Ice Block. So he needs to hold on for another minute. He needs to make sure he's using that Temporal Shield at appropriate times. There's been a little bit questionable uses of Temporal Shield so far from Jellybeans. Still hasn't used it. He's getting low. Upsurge and Crowd Control. This is the perfect moment to use it. I don't know why he's waiting. He still hasn't traded out the Temporal Shield. And he Cold Snap Ice Block. So not using the Temporal Shield, you know, waiting so long to use his Cold Snap. He's put himself so far behind on that third Ice Block. And these are the kind of mistakes seeing from Jellybeans that could really cost them the match.
I think we're going to all the way to a Game 5 between these two teams with the compositions they have to answer each other. What's most standing out to me for Getchur Boy Dog is they're kind of like a mini Method Orange. They have the Windwalker Mage Druid and they have the Windwalker DK Druid, which are two of the main compositions that Method Orange run. And it could similarly play out the same way if Method Orange lose to the boys and face the move in the next round. But the move, I mean, they're going to have to overcome a disadvantaged swing match in game number 5. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. They're losing the Mage Mirror with Rogue Mage Druid, the best comp in the game right now. If they can't beat the Windwalker Mage Druid variant of it, that is telling. I certainly don't think that they'll be utilizing this composition to face Cloud9 in the mirror at any point, but luckily they can use the Shadow Priest Rogue. But that just means that the move rely entirely on the blind pick. They're going to have to mind game their opponents, and I don't think they have any surprise compositions that they could really use in a blind pick situation. They're perhaps too predictable.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Move aren't out of it yet. Jellybean certainly could hold on, but need better defensive plays. They might be able to get that second Ice Block from Grayson. Things are looking good. Grayson into his second Ice Block. So the move, there's still hope. And we'll see. Jellybeans' Ice Block's coming out under 3 minutes. Grayson as well. He's got about 3 minutes left on that Cold Snap. So things aren't horrible here for the move. You look at mana, Upsurge actually has a slight lead, and I could easily see the move winning this matchup. They just need to clean up their play, find the crowd control they need, and keep this assault, keep Grayson locked down in crowd control, getting bursted down.
All right, if they can pull it off, it would be so critical to get the swing match advantage. Jellybeans gets Cyclone on his Temporal Shield, denying the heal, denying the recovery. He activates Ice Barrier, but Absurge is cycloned. Flop is lobbing in some Star Surge damage. Gladiator's Maledict's incoming as well. Absurge with no Iron Bark, but the move secure crowd control onto the entire team with a double Ring of Frost from Jellybeans. Looking to reverse the pressure on Grayson. Grayson sees that coming, activates Temporal Shield, soaks it all up for his team, and then heals back to full. Although Flop is still crowd controlled. Baby Cake's activating the Touch of Death, trying to push forward for a kill himself. Absurge gets counterspelled. That could be game winning here from Grayson. Touch of Death about to explode. Iron Bark at the last possible second. And Jellybeans holds on barely. Now Cycloned to deny the Iron Bark. Beautiful Cyclones from Flop. Mana still even, 10% in the dampening. Peekaboo trying to reverse pressure, dropping the Smoke Bomb, but Jellybeans can't really back him up. He doesn't have Frozen Orb. Doesn't have too much damage. It is unfortunate. Peekaboo trying to solo Grayson, but not able to. Now Cycloned. Absurge into Paralysis. Grayson actually still on the back foot. Consistent damage from Peekaboo certainly setting in. Flop Trinket's blind into a cheap shot. Set up for a Polymorph if Jellybeans can find it. Grayson stops it for a moment. Temporal Shield active, but Flop's in a half Cyclone. It's going to be a bit of a race here to try and kill Grayson before the Temporal Shield goes off, but they can't win the race, and Grayson heals back to full.
Yeah, Grayson and Jellybeans, their Ice Blocks coming out at about the same time, but Grayson's still in trouble. Flop gets locked out. Nicely done by Jellybeans, looking for an Evan Bolt. Gets interrupted. Now can spam out the Polymorphs. Polymorph on Baby Cakes, trying to slow down that damage, and that was the Touch of Karma coming in from Baby Cakes as well. So maybe an exposed target, but I still feel like for the move, their best strategy is just going after Grayson. Cheap shot on Flop into a full Ring of Frost. Good setup here by the move as they push forward. Grayson running and hiding for his life. Lands a Nova on Peekaboo. Peekaboo gets out, and he's continuing the pressure. He's continuing the damage. Cheap shot landed over on the Baby Cakes to slow down some pressure. Nicely done by Peekaboo. Jellybeans is in a little bit of trouble. Temporal Shield rolling should top him off, but no, a lot of it gets soaked up. Jellybeans in a lot of trouble with the Polymorph on Absurge. They need to stop the re-CC. Peekaboo lands a kitty shot onto Grayson. Flop with a beautiful low Cyclone on Jellybeans on that Gladiator safeguard. Really well done. Absurge definitely has to play catch up, but you can see Jellybeans has got the Ice Block back. Both Mages should be fine.
Yep, Mages are beginning to stabilize deep into dampening though. Mana slightly in favor of Absurge. Can Peekaboo keep up the pressure? Work through that cold snap of Grayson faster than Jellybeans has to use his Ice Block. I'm not certain here with Absurge and Polymorph. Baby Cakes can't get on target though. He's Frost Nova'd up. Grayson being counter pressured away now. Absurge on top of Grayson, but trying to stop Flop from drinking.
Touch of Death
with the Ursul's Vortex. Baby Cake's making a big push. Will Jellybeans have to block on top of the Temporal? Yes, he will. Big overlap there. Fortunately, though, Cold Snap comes up in about 22 seconds, and they still have a mana lead. If they can force Cold Snap from Grayson in the next 38 seconds, they'll be on about an even playing field. But if they can't, they're going to be 2 blocks behind likely soon. They got a lot of work.
Looks like Grayson's going to be in trouble. Is he going to have to use the Cold Snap? Garrote Silence comes in. They need crowd control to get the Cyclone. Grayson trades out the Cold Snap. This is the perfect situation for the move. And now they're lined up on Ice Blocks once again. Jellybeans, you have to trade out that Cold Snap. I mean, I just feel like it's a mistake to wait 4 minutes, but we'll see. What is he going to do? We're at 25% dampening. Both healers running out of mana. Both teams running out of time. There's been good control. This has actually been such a back-and-forth game, Sid.
It has been a back-and-forth game. Now at 25% dampening. Absurge crowd controlled. Jellybean stunned. This could be devastating for the move. Absurge likely has to activate Iron Bark, and he does do so. Jellybean should begin to stabilize now, looking to counterattack Grayson. Temporal Shield active for him. Needs to hold out a little bit longer for it to go off and heal him back. Not getting too much of a heal, unfortunately, from it. Vendetta is now rolling. There's no Iron Bark. This is easily going to be an Ice Block just based off damage at 28% dampening. Peekaboo wants to make sure that it is. He drops the Smoke Bomb. Big Comet Storm. This has to be a block, and it's going to be the last one for Grayson this game.
Oh, the move. They're doing such a great job. This is basically a miracle for them. I really didn't think they'd be able to go toe-to-toe. Nice sap coming in from Peekaboo, the boy wonder. Grayson is in a lot of trouble right now. He's got no Ice Blocks. Is there any follow-up crowd control? Flop, he trades out the Iron Bark, but he's still so far behind. The move have all the pressure, all the momentum. They're looking to reverse the swing match in their favor. And are they going to be able to do it? There's another interrupt over on the Flop. Grayson's getting low. He's got the Temp Shield. Can he hold on just a little bit longer? It does heal him up, but he's still in just so much trouble. The damage from the move is too high. Jellybean's getting a little bit low as well, but he's got the Ice Block he can fall back on. Flop trades out the last little bit of his mana and Innervate to keep Grayson alive, but after that, there's really nothing left. Jellybeans has to be careful. Touch of Death on Jellybeans. It gets cycloned. I think that might have actually immune the damage. That was a big mistake from Flop.
He did get the Gladiator safeguard, though, so Jellybeans needs to be careful. He doesn't have that to rely on. He's trying to go for a big push. Comet Storm on the kidney shot. Peekaboo sets up for the poly, but Jellybeans gets intercepted by Baby Cakes. He can't get it. Now Grayson's going to stabilize. It's Jellybeans who falls behind. Mana so low, dampening so high. This game easily coming to its conclusion very shortly. Absurge is crowd controlled first. This could be the ice block from Jellybeans, likely the last for him in the match. Absurge is cycloned. How is Jellybeans going to hold on? He polymorphs Baby Cakes. He interrupts Grayson, but Baby Cakes rolls over and connects. Big damage. Ice block forced, and it's still an even game. Peekaboo's trying to tilt it in his favor. 16 seconds until Ironbark. Vendetta in 5. Peekaboo can easily be the MVP here in these next couple of seconds with overwhelming pressure, but Absurge getting caught in a polymorph. Devastating moment for Jellybeans. They were just seconds away from killing Grayson with Vendetta, and they're going to fall in game 3.
Absolutely, back and forth to win this one, then they will still have the uphill task of winning game 5.
Yep, the move charging in on Dalaran Sewers, and Absurge getting knocked out immediately, a little bit late with exiting the kind of sewers pipe up there. There's a knockdown mechanic there if you aren't aware of that. If you stay too long, you get forced out or you get flushed out. And that's exactly what Getchur Boy Dog are trying to do right now, flushing out the move.
Yeah, I saw where you were going with that one. I was just waiting for it. That was beautiful. Jellybeans taking a lot of damage in this moment of time. And as we say, this is kind of the odd situation for Rogue Mage, whereas in the past you'd look at this matchup, you'd be like, oh, the Rogue Mage is on a timer. They need to be the ones getting aggressive, getting the crowd control. No, it's actually the other way around now. The DK Windwalker are the team looking to set up with their Touch of Death, win the game early. Peekaboo countering Smoke Bomb, forces Baby Cakes away. This is what we like to see in the early game from Rogue Mage. Attack the Windwalker, force him defensive so he doesn't have uptime. Beautiful Sheep snagged onto the Trinket of Flop. That's going to force out the Touch of Karma, and that's really playing into the move's win conditions. Now the Monk's going to be scared.
Nice re-follow up there by Peekaboo as well. Going for the sap, going for the cheap shot. Absurge not going to be able to find a clone here without an Ironbark at least going out from Flop. He's going to go for the Cyclone on the Ironbark. Beautifully done. He needs to get another Cyclone here now. Let's see. Absurge mistimes it, unfortunately. Healing stat is definitely kind of shaking his head right now because of that, but hey, if you can time the Recyclone into the Recyclone, you can actually push in and get the bash into the Cyclone onto Flop and perhaps secure the match already. That's what we see a lot of these experienced Rogue Mage Druids do. However, the move still, their win condition is in the late game, so Jellybeans finding that polymorph is still going to net them a lot of pressure, which of course is going to help them get to that late game. You can see Jellybeans as well keeping his Blizzard up, doing a good job with that. Should have a Frozen Orb available right now, and basically Jellybean's rotation is get Blizzards out and get Frozen Orbs out on cooldown. Now he's taking a lot of damage here, has to blink out. The Gladiator Safeguard is going to proc. Kleptomania onto Baby Cakes. There's the Frozen Orb, there's the Blizzard, and now he's looking to reverse that pressure. And you can see that Frozen Orb cooldown just ticking down, 43 seconds, 42 seconds. Every single time the Blizzard does damage, it reduces the cooldown by 0.5 seconds per target hit. And with the DK having so many pets, the Windwalker images, you can reset it very quickly. Sometimes you can have 2 Frozen Orbs out at the same time because of that.
Yeah, and that's just one of the reasons why Frost Mage is so powerful in this matchup. You have the snares, you have the consistent orbs. Actually, we see the anti-magic zone traded out for the Vendetta. Very presumptuous. I guess he's just kind of playing to that script of trading cooldowns for cooldowns, though very little pressure was coming out of the move in the situation. Jellybeans, quite frankly, has been bullied. Peekaboo is just trying to get something going for his team. He just can't, though. Without Jellybeans getting some sort of damage, some sort of semblance of pressure, he's really struggling in this situation. Absurge has done a fantastic job with his mana, still only at about 60% with the pressure he's been out healing. You'd think it would be a worse situation. I'm actually curious if he's running the Nourish talent. We see a lot of these Druid Mage dampeners kind of running Nourish as an efficient way of healing, getting the hots up as well as that instant heal. Not convinced that Absurge is playing that since we haven't seen him cast it too much, and that might be part of the reason why Jellybeans is falling so far behind. He's trying to kite these melee DPS tunneling him away from Flop so they can try get some pressure. Peekaboo a smoke bomb up in about 10 seconds. That could be an opening, especially with Baby Cakes trading out his Transcendence pretty early on here.
Yeah, and Jellybeans, he just needs to make sure that he doesn't blink exactly like that. You don't want to blink just to get a Frostbolt cast off. I mean, Frostbolt doing like 4,000 damage or something, it's not really going to do too much. Instead, you want to be blinking like that when the Windwalker is using his mobility. Essentially, the only time you can blink like that is to secure a Blizzard cast, because Blizzard is, of course, going to be resetting your orb like I mentioned earlier on, and then you want to use your Pet Nova when Baby Cakes is using his rolls like he just did there, and you want to try to just keep distance between you and the Windwalker. There's the Tiger's Lust of Baby Cakes. Every time there's a kidney shot, you want to be running as well. And I gotta say, Absterge, he's putting himself in a situation where he just has to heal a lot more than necessary. Whenever you've done a kidney shot over onto Baby Cakes, you can just clone him up after that. Now we're going to see a potential CC chain here initiated over onto Absterge. Flop's going to go in with the Rake Stun. Not going to be able to follow up the Cyclone though. A little bit scary there. DR Asphyxiate onto Absterge there. Not going to be netting them too much of an advantage. Jellybeans is doing a good job here with Absterge, utilizing the map, kind of kiting at the bottom halves of it, and that's exactly what they need to do, but the mana is not looking good, and you can see right there Absterge getting a mana proc there from that Ever-Rising Tide, so he is running those mana per 5 essences, and they're doing a lot of work here, especially when he's on the back foot, as we're just about to set into dampening.
Yep, dampening has started to elapse here. Healing reduction for both sides to contend with. Baby Cake's taking a bit of damage, actually overlapping the diffuse magic with the anti-magic zone here. So two tools that do very similar effects overlap. Now we see Touch of Death though. Fortifying Brew comes out after, so this Touch of Death won't pack so much of a punch. Temporal Shield to answer anyways. Jellybeans, good defensive management. That was a huge potential push there for Getchur Boy Dog. I think Baby Cakes let the ball drop a little bit. He should have used his Fortifying Brew first to get the empowered effect on his Touch of Death there. But Jellybeans just kind of kiting away. I mean, as you say, Zico, he's doing a really good job of using the map, but equally, the map isn't the best tool. It's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He would have much rather had more space, Tolvaron Arena for this specific matchup. The move picking it, presumably because he was scared of some sort of Mage Druid dampening them on the larger map. Jellybeans has done a good job stabilizing, but the mana's not great. Absterge has been having to heal the entire game. Now he's looking for the reset. This could be a crucial moment in the match, but no, he decides to come back, heal. He's kind of indecisive right now. Now he's sitting down. He has a disease on him though, so Grayson's going to be able to immediately stand him up. One of the big advantages of the Death Knight.
Yeah, and honestly, trading out an Ice Block for Absterge getting a full mana bar isn't the worst situation to be in if you are the move. So that's exactly what they need to look for, because as it stands right now, if Absterge stays tapped on mana, then they're just going to lose the game outright because of the uptime of the Windwalker DK. Jellybean's going to have 2 Ice Blocks, but deeper into dampening, he's going to have to just use both of them back to back. However, we are starting to hit that point in the game where Jellybean's damage is starting to become really high, and at that point, they can force Baby Cakes and Grayson away from him, and that's going to also be able to secure a drink for Absterge. He just needs to have a little bit more mana, and they just need to keep the pressure. They're already going after Grayson now. I want to see some crowd controls over onto Baby Cakes. Another mana proc from the Ever-Rising Tide though. He's actually going to put Absterge in the lead. Another proc. Absterge, he is having great luck right now with those essences. They're doing a lot of work here, and Grayson taking a lot of damage here. This is the Vendetta of Peekaboo. A little bit slow with the trade here on the anti-magic zone. You can see another Frozen Orb comes out. The Blizzard is coming out. Baby Cakes not going to be able to do too much to back up Grayson here in this situation. And Absterge actually looking for a drink, and he came back with a lot of mana. This game is looking like the moves one to take.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the move, you're very happy to see that blue bar on Absterge. Huge drink swing there for the move. Looking like they should be able to tie this one up. Grayson dropping low. We're at that win condition now. Dampening stacks up. The Death Knight cannot heal himself. Has no defensive cooldowns. And guess what? Icy Veins for Jellybeans. He pushes the button. He's going for the kill. We see crowd control. I feel like Absterge has been getting better into this game at cycloning Baby Cakes. Now that they're on Grayson, they've identified they're getting comfortable. Pressure is dropping. It's dwindling for Getchur Boy Dog in Game 4. Dalaran Sewers looking to tie us up here. Go into Game 5 between these two teams. The move still at a disadvantage in the series. They need 2 wins here to overcome their adversary, Getchur Boy Dog, but they're looking better in this one. Grayson with higher health, but flops out of mana. There's no defensive cooldowns really remaining. Jellybeans just needs to keep kiting, keep doing damage with that Frozen Rain and the orbs, and they should be able to secure this one.
Yeah, and as we say that, Absterge going for another Cyclone right there. Flop now, though, sitting down for a drink. However, like we've kind of mentioned, at this point in the game, the Rogue Mage Druid just has so much damage, and they are going to be able to secure it even if it comes down to Flop having a little bit more mana, just because Absterge just simply has to heal a lot less. Grayson right now on that DK, basically like a sitting duck, and we see a nice grip, asphyxiate combo, leg sweep combo, sorry, over onto Absterge. And they're swapping to him, forcing out his trinket. Now Jellybeans as well, taking a lot of damage. Nice swaps here from Getchur Boy Dog, making Absterge have to expend even more mana, but right now tied up still with Flop, and Jellybeans still has both of his ice blocks remaining. Grayson looking to stay on target, gets kidney shot. Vendetta is immediately activated by Peekaboo. I expect to see an anti-magic zone drop by Grayson, but he gets sucked out from that vortex. Nicely done by Absterge, gonna allow Peekaboo a couple of extra seconds of dealing damage right there. And now Jellybeans putting a frozen orb between him and Grayson, but an equally nice ring of peace there. This is gonna keep Jellybeans in place for a little bit longer. Grayson now trading out the anti-magic shell as well as the transfusion, but he gets kidney shot on it. Peekaboo really looking to put the team on his back here, as we might enter to about 30% dampening.
Yeah, 40% is the magical number according to Super T, so we're almost at that stage. Absterge sat down for a drink, Flop looked to deny. Now he's caught out, maybe Sheep can come in. Good interrupts from Getchur Boy Dog. Jellybeans, he's trying to get aggressive, he's trying to make the plays in this situation for his team. He's trying to be the carry on that old Mage of his. We see the orb coming in once again, Grayson running away. This is the worst case scenario for Grayson. He wants to have uptime on Jellybeans. The further and further the Rogue Mage get ahead, the harder it will be for him to catch up. Flop almost out of mana. The safeguard comes in, spell stolen by Jellybeans, looking for the kill. Grayson running, Vortex back into line of sight. Jellybeans just has such an advantage. Smoke bomb comes in. Surely this will be matched. You can even see this, the rafts coming in from Absterge, essentially wanding him at the end of that game. Right now available, and now they have the advantage in game 5. Grayson once again going to have the rematch against Jellybeans on the Frost Mage v Frost Mage matchup, and we're going to the Robodrome.
Robodrome will require mechanical mastery of the Mage Druid combination. Will the move be able to overcome the experience that Getchur Boy Dog have with this style of play? We would give the composition advantage to the move, but in terms of experience, certainly the Getchur Boy Dog are ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue Mage Druid going up against the Windwalker Mage Druid. I think the smaller map was a good pick here by Getchur Boy Dog, or actually, yeah, it was a good pick here by Getchur Boy Dog. I think against the move, with them locking in this composition, the Windwalker Frost Mage Restoration Druid, especially if you feel like you're more experienced in getting crowd control, you want that smaller map to consistently get that damage rolling and allow Baby Cakes a lot of uptime in the match as well. Right now, Jellybeans is not going to have as much space to sort of kite around the map and deny Baby Cakes' mobility. Baby Cakes can stay on target. It's going to be a lot of damage. The one thing that's difficult for the Windwalker Monk, though, is if you're playing against a Frost Mage who knows how to kite your images, they get caught in a Frost Nova, they get caught in a Pet Freeze or an Ice Nova, all of a sudden the Windwalker Monk loses out on so much damage potential. Touch of Death now rolling here for Baby Cakes. He's getting aggressive with the Fortifying Brew. There's no Temporal Shield. There is no Iron Bark. Jellybean's going to take a huge hit. Safeguard does proc, and that will be enough to keep Jellybeans alive.
I think it's important to highlight the intensity of this match. Potentially, Summer Finals on the line. And if Summer Finals are on the line, BlizzCon is also on the line for the move because they are far behind on points. They will not be able to qualify through that method. They have to make it to the Summer Finals, and they need a top 2 performance at the Summer Finals. They might not be able to even make it there if they lose this game. They already lost this matchup once to Getchur Boy Dog. They were seconds away from Peekaboo being able to power through and carry the game, but Jellybeans could not stay alive. Absterge got caught in too much crowd control. So Absterge is going to have to increase his awareness in game number 5. If he even makes one mistake, it could be the entire year on the line.
Yep, there is no room for mistakes whatsoever for the move. When we saw these teams go head-to-head with these compositions, it was a really close game. It literally came down to Absterge just accidentally tanking a Polymorph, and Absterge has actually switched over to Relentless, which is an interesting pick. I'm not sure if he was running it on Tiger's Peak. I don't think he was, but with that Relentless, it's going to make all Polymorphs going to be a little bit shorter duration. It's going to be more difficult for Grayson to get the re-Polymorphs if there is crowd control. However, that does mean if Getchur Boy Dog can find one good crowd control chain, Absterge can't get out of it. And that's an opportunity for Jellybeans to force to be into a situation where he uses his Ice Block. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. We'll have to see if it works out for the move.
I'm just trying to... Okay, no, there it is. All right, Jellybeans is his water elemental, just positioned really far out of the fight. I saw it as the camera swung around. Grayson stunned up. Flop with no Gliders Medallion if the move can secure crowd control there. That's the one thing. The move, they've got the solid strategy against the Cleaves of just avoiding damage, extending the match, and then killing a stationary target. But do they have the coordination to get aggressive with the Mage Druid? Absurd is looking to set up some crowd control here. Hibernate into Cyclone, counterspelled by Grayson. Good denial. That's going to put Jellybeans behind. Flop looks to punish Absturge for his offense. Absturge shadow melts the Cyclone, then starts to retreat away. Flop looking for it again, finds it. This could be an ice block from Jellybeans. Absturge wanted to get aggressive but got punished. Is he going to have some consequences for the punishment? Now into the stun. Beautiful crowd control. Flop now counterspelled by Jellybeans, opening up opportunity to take out Grayson.
Yeah, Grayson could be forced into his first ice block. He's getting low. Jellybeans with a better temporal shield. He has improved on that since the Tigers' peak game, and I think it's going to be really important that Jellybeans uses that temporal shield at an opportune time, especially when there's crowd control on Absurge. He can deny kills that way, and he has been doing so in this game. Babycake's using Transcendence to get on top of Jellybeans. He's been using that Transcendence quite well. I think Jellybeans could do a little bit better of a job running away from it because it's essentially free mobility for Babycakes. I've seen it a couple times in the matchup so far. Definitely something to look out for. Grayson now getting bursted down. The full Cyclone over onto Flop. Grayson responds with Temporal Shield. Safeguard proc. Temporal Shield should proc as well. That might keep Grayson alive, but Peekaboo looking to make an offensive push with his Vanish. Garrote Silence on Flop. Garrote Silence on Grayson. Flop responds with the Iron Bar. Grayson manages to hold on, getting topped off. Good defensive Cyclone there by Absturge, slowing down Grayson on his Icy Veins.
All right, let's see if the move can pull it off here. I can just imagine the sweat dripping from their foreheads, almost facing elimination in the first round of the lower bracket to Getchur Boy Dog. They're going to be in fight or flight. We're just getting to dampening. Mana is looking good for Absturge. They at least have that going for them. Still, no ice blocks forced from either side, although Getchur Boy Dog could switch to Peekaboo. He used his Gladiator's Medallion. Now that he doesn't have that, he can't trinket a leg sweep to use evasion to prevent Touch of Death. There's no Iron Bar for 16 seconds, and Absturge is running Relentless, so if Absturge is crowd controlled, he won't be able to activate that. Getchur Boy Dog, I would love to see them set up a swap on Peekaboo. I feel like they could easily 100-0 him with the Touch of Death. Instead, committing the Touch of Death to Jellybeans, trying to get a kill or an ice block before the Iron Bark is available of Absturge, but it should line up. Touch of Death goes off, big hit. Oh, big mistake by the move. Quite a panic attack there. 3 defensive cooldowns, the Safeguard, the Ice Block, and the Iron Bark in one push. High value for Getchur Boy Dog, and the pressure is on.
I feel like we've seen, last week we saw Jellybeans fall to the massive Touch of Deaths of Chun-Li, and I feel like Jellybeans, he's having nightmare flashbacks, because like you said, he had the Iron Bark, he had Safeguard, he had a lot of defense still available in that situation. Trading out the Ice Block is definitely a big mistake, but we'll have to see, can Getchur Boy Dog really punish them on that? We'll have to see. Jellybeans gets Cyclone on his Temporal Shield. Beautiful plays here by Flop. That's going to be denying a lot of incoming healing. Now pushing forward, trying to get crowd control. He gets counter crowd control. Absturge doing a good job landing that bash. Absturge getting locked out. Jellybeans in some trouble, but somehow Jellybeans actually got topped off in that situation.
All right, they're down 1 ice block. Mana still slightly in their favor. They need to push forward with this Vendetta and get a block. If they don't, they're going to be very far behind for the next 2 minutes when Peekaboo's next Vendetta is available, and they're not finding it. There isn't enough damage. Grayson is totally stabilized. It's not looking good for the move. Their entire year could potentially rest on this one match. They can't lose, but they're in a losing position. It's not looking good for the move. If there was ever a time that any move fans in chat want to give their energy, they need it here. They need it now. 7 minutes into game 5, Absturge gets a Cyclone. Good opportunity to get a block from Grayson, but there's not any damage. Peekaboo is held at bay. Grayson sneaks a Polymorph over onto Absturge. Big mistake there, potentially costing Jellybeans an ice block. Not able to. Jellybeans taking control of Babycakes and denying any sort of damage during that crowd control. Jellybeans covering up for the mistakes of Absturge. Absturge now trying to get aggressive and go for Cyclones. He's going to have to push himself out of his comfort zone. They cannot rely on only defense with the Rogue Mage Druid in this matchup. But while they're going out of their comfort zone, there's opportunity to fail. Can they manage to overcome it? Big push here on the Grayson. It would be a massive blunder to not trade a block. They commit the smoke bomb. They tie up the blocks. Flop gets sapped on his way into the smoke bomb. Peekaboo trying to carry the move to victory in game 5.
Yep, sap on Flop. It's going to be a resap coming in from Peekaboo into one more. Grayson could be in some trouble. Full blind on Flop. He trinkets out. Nice plays by Peekaboo. Shadow step over. Garrote onto Flop. Peekaboo styling right now in this match, but unfortunately Grayson's going to be just fine. He's got one ice block left. Flop did trade out his trinket in that exchange, which is a victory for the move. They might be able to still get more. I mean, this would be very surprising if they were able to force an ice block through Iron Bark. Grayson could just be in some trouble. Nice offensive push there by the move. Grayson's still low. He's got the temporal shield, but he's getting bursted down. In the meantime, Jellybean's actually in a little bit of trouble as well. He's got temporal shield. That's going to top him off. Nicely done. A little bit of a mistimed clone there by Flop. He could have immune to all of that healing if he had got that off before temporal shield. Unfortunately, wasn't able to.
Flop has the mana advantage, even though ice blocks are even. Jellybeans gets potentially the game-winning polymorph. He sneaks it in on Flop. Mistakes on both sides. You can tell the pressure is getting to both teams here. Deep into game number 5. Absurd gets counterspelled. Danger time for Jellybeans. Grayson gets stunned away, but he trinkets out. He knows that this is a good opportunity to get a block. If they can get Iron Bark and Ice Block, I'm not sure that the move can still pull off victory. Jellybeans gets control of Baby Cakes. He's not panicking under the pressure, blinking back to safety, but Absurd is still crowd controlled. Jellybeans and Grayson going at each other in melee range on those Frost Mages. Peekaboo trying to keep Grayson at bay. Baby Cakes locked down in a Frost Nova for a moment as both Restoration Druids escape the crowd control and take a moment to recover.
Jellybean still looking for damage. Flop is a little bit higher on mana than Absurge. So there is a lead for Getchur Boy Dog. Both mages still have an ice block, but it's going to be Jellybeans who has access to his third ice block much quicker. Grayson's still low. Can they force it out? Peekaboo gets caught into a Nova, into a Polymorph. That gets dispelled. Absurge looking to push in. He wants crowd control over onto Flop. Is he going to be able to find it? Still good control on Peekaboo. Grayson deflecting the situation, but he's still not topped off. He's getting low. Trying to blink away. Jellybeans lands a counterspell on the Ray of Frost. Grayson in a full kidney shot, getting bursted down. Flop responds with the Iron Bark. Peekaboo moves forward, gets the full blind. Flop trinkets out. Peekaboo repositioning, potentially even looking for the re-stealth. No, comes in for the Shadow Step kick onto Grayson. Fortunately now will not have that Shadow Step if Grayson decides to use Shimmer to get away. With the Cyclone on Absurge, Jellybeans is very vulnerable. There's a follow-up Cyclone as well. Flop in a great position. Grayson goes for the Ring of Frost. Unfortunately, completely whiffs it. Absurge will be able to get out. It's a risky Ring of Frost, but I appreciate the fact that Grayson went for it. It would have been a game-winning play if he had landed it.
All right, let's see if Jellybeans can hold on for 18 more seconds. He's going to have 2 more ice blocks. Mana is still even at this point. The moves still have a good opportunity. Smoke Bomb Vendetta. This is what we saw Peekaboo set up and get a block with earlier on. He may be able to get a block prior to it, then find the kill. The Movers setting themselves up in a prime position. Polymorph is locked down. Iron Bark probably not going to be enough at 35% dampening. Grayson needs to measure the damage output and gauge whether or not he needs to block on top of it. They get a sap out of the crowd control. Peekaboo trying to carry. Grayson in a lot of trouble. They're shredding through that Gladiator safeguard, and they're going to net themselves the second ice block, although potentially not the final one if Grayson can hold on for 3 more minutes. But Flop is still locked down in crowd control. Absurge gets the third Cyclone. Ice block going to be ending. Still no Iron Bark, and Peekaboo can stay on target. He's got a smoke bomb. They could drop the stun and go for the kill here right now. Icy Veins pop by Grayson. He's trying to counter pressure. Absurge is locked down in crowd control. Good push and reversal from Getchur Boy Dog to race against his temporal shield. Can they get the block before it goes off? They can't. Jellybean's going to bounce back in the fight. Now the Mover in the driver's seat.
Jellybean's looking good. He's looking healthy. Grayson's in some trouble. He's got Icy Veins rolling an interrupt on Flop. Grayson could easily fall. We are 39% dampening. Temporal shield is rolling with a bash over onto Flop. Can they take him down in time? It heals for nothing, and Grayson might go down. The move might be able to do it, but he holds on.
There's no CS.
Flop, he managed to get the heals off. He got the Iron Bark. Grayson's going to be able to survive. Smoke Bomb drops out. Flop with the Tranquility. Big heals, but at 42% dampening, I don't know if Grayson's ever going back to full HP, and he's got no ice blocks for another minute.
Bob trinkets the blind. Grayson has absolutely nothing left, but there's a pocket touch of death. Baby Cakes could go for the all-in one-shot. We saw Jellybeans explode to touch of death in the cup prior. He needs to be careful to measure that damage. They've got such a huge lead. They can't afford to throw. Jellybeans is going to block before the touch of death. Baby Cakes can carry the team, assuming that Grayson can stabilize. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to stabilize. Jellybeans is owning him, counterspelling him on Frost. Baby Cakes goes for the touch of death. Absurge is in a poly. This could be a KO. Jellybeans is on hypothermia and can't block. Grayson can die at the same moment. Both mages in trouble. Jellybeans falls first. Peekaboo has to kill Grayson in these next couple of seconds. He interrupts the heals, but he gets crowd controlled by the paralysis. Absterge needs to get crowd control. He stuns Flop. Peekaboo can't get in the fight. He gets dispelled. If he can stay on target, Flop's out of mana. No Iron Bark. Cold Snap in 18. Can Peekaboo and Absterge pull off the 2 versus 3? Peekaboo and a Frost Nova. Grayson just needs to live for 10 more seconds. It's looking like he's going to be able to, and this could be BlizzCon off the table for the move off of this defeat.
This is absolutely tragic for the move. They lose to Getchur Boy Dog. 3-2 victory in favor of the ladder team that hasn't really had so much success. We're going to see it play out here, but honestly, the chances are incredibly slim. You always have to play it out in that situation.
Dampening, Warlock self-healing is not going to be great, and they're going to be able to take him down. And up until that point, Cloud9, they just need to play a controlled game where they control Nick, they control Burn, they make sure that they don't fall too far behind. The only scary thing, I think, is if Corlic gets a big purge spam setup, essentially, onto one of the members combined with Chaos Bolts.
First time we're going to see the Rogue Warlock Shaman go into the Rogue Mage Druid. That's been the name of the tournament so far in 8.2, is what can beat Rogue Mage Druid. This composition is showing decent promise early on with a lot of pressure on Wealthy Men. Vendetta popped, Iron Bark going to be fading here shortly. Nick going all in with that push though, having committed his Cloak of Shadows and not getting too much for it. He could be a liability if Cloud9 looked to switch to him, but instead going for the safer line of the Destruction Warlock as the main target, and they immediately get the Unending Resolve. They've already got the major cooldown, Player's Medallion from Corlic. They now just got the second major cooldown, Unending Resolve, in 2 setups. Third setup could be the end of the game.
I mean, it really could be. I mean, Burn's still not topped off at this point. There's just massive damage from Snuts and Wealthy Man. Corlic looking for some heals. Is he going to be able to find it? There's the full kidney shot. Is there any crowd control? Kick from Snuts. Nicely done. Burn's in a world of trouble right now. Gladiator Safeguard will proc. As he's looking to land the fear, trying to slow down Cloud9 just a little bit in the game. Corlic going to make some defensive trades with his Ascendance and top off Burn, but Cloud9, they've got all the pressure, all the momentum. Nick traded out the Vanish and the Cloak of Shadows quite early on, but if I was Nick, I would do everything I can to make Cloud9 go after me, try to free up Burn a little bit. So it could be a bait. I mean, right now, Burn's going to be in some trouble with the Polymorph over onto Corlic.
Yeah, full Polymorph, second Polymorph, where the Cyclones from Cubsy, he's in position, gets it. Smoke Bomb dropped by Nick in desperation to save Burn while Corlic sits through Cyclone. No follow-up. Corlic able to connect some heals. Burn trying to counter pressure. Wealthy Men blinking out of line of sight, avoiding those big Chaos Bolts. Thanks to the activation of that Dark Soul. Burn now stunned towards the end of it. Good denial by Cloud9, avoiding Burn's significant damage increasing cooldown. Corlic getting cleaved down in the Frozen Orb. Snuts potentially interrupting him as well if he's not careful. Corlic was able to work through it. Now only counter spell. Corlic going to avoid that, activating the Spirit Walker's Grace. Snuts looks like he wants to move towards Corlic and crowd control. I'm going to be blinding. Double Mortal Coil from Burn to stall. Fear Cubsy out of stun, not able to, unfortunately. Snuts hexed for a moment, but not of too much consequence. Mana, though, is heavily in favor of No Name at this point, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah, I mean, that's one advantage the Restoration Shaman brings. If they can hold on, and they can win this match. But it just seems like until that point, Cloud9, they can basically do whatever they want in this match. Cubsy, he did trade out his Trinket, did trade out Iron Bark. Wealthy Man still has 2 ice blocks he can fall back on if he really needs to. Corlic positioned at the pillar. It's going to be for the Restoration Shaman all about just surviving, holding on as long as he can. In the meantime, Cubsy realizes the only way they can throw away this game is if he does go out of mana. So he's going to sit down, go for a drink, and just allow Wealthy Man Snuts to control up the game. Snuts sits on Burn, as well as Wealthy Man controlling up Nick. Finally, Cubsy, with full mana, he comes back into the fight, topping off Snuts, topping off Wealthy Man, and now Cloud9 can look to get aggressive once again.
Cloud9, I would say, have been in a confident position for most of game number 1. I'm not sold on this Rogue Warlock Shaman. I mean, this could just be the end of the game. Nick needs to do something quick to save Burn. He's burning down on any resolve. Not available for 4 more seconds and interrupted. This should be game over. Cloud9 taking this down. No blocks forced, no club.
Championship Sunday, No Name would then drop into the lower bracket, which would be obviously something that I think they would actually play against M2KC, so there's more Rogue Mage on the menu for them.
They have floor mat on the team. I don't know why they don't just play the Rogue Mage Paladin. I feel like that comp has been one of the main compositions that Cloud9 struggled with. I mean, maybe they just want to know for sure if the Destruction Warlock Rogue doesn't work. Cloud9 are taking the map into their own advantage to attack the enemy healer, going immediately after Korlik. Cubsy sitting through Blind Sap, not wanting to use the Gladiator's Medallion just yet. Wealthy Man's getting high value Temporal Shield, dealing back a huge amount of damage. And now Cubsy is out of crowd control, connecting Iron Bark and reducing the damage of these Chaos Bolts significantly. Korlik sitting through a blind. Snuts looking for the sap, gets the sap as well, but not too much damage just yet. So immediately they abandon the Warlock and go back to the Paladin. RMPal going to be popping that Avenging Wrath, increasing his healing, although there is a kick available. He's going to have to fake cast. He's not running the Divine Favor. Interesting choice to not be running that. Perhaps he knows it's just going to be spell stolen, so he wants to get advantage of an extra honor talent aside from the Divine Favor, but this now guarantees that he has to fake cast a significant amount of interrupts.
Yeah, Nick's going to be moving forward, trying to continue the pressure on Wealthy Man, but it's Burn on the back foot. There's a full Cyclone over onto Korlik. Cubsy secures a second. Burn in a little bit of trouble. Ultimate sacrifice trades, but that's a major cooldown that he had to trade out to keep Burn alive. It's a big victory there for Cloud9. Hammer of Justice into a sap. Nicely done there by Nick. Good setup. Wealthy Man could be in some trouble. A kick comes in. Burn lands a fear over onto Snuts. Big setup here by No Name. If they can get an ice block, it's going to be huge. But if they can't, I mean, I don't really see setups getting better than that. And Wealthy Man didn't really have to use anything. He still has his ice block. I don't think Safeguard proc. Cubsy just managed to throw in an Iron Bark, and now Wealthy Man's completely fine. And that was a great setup. That should have been an ice block. And the fact that it isn't just makes me think that No Name, I just don't know where their win condition is.
All right, No Name, how are you going to pull this off? Looks like they're desperate. They're going after Cubsy in a swap, but Nick isn't getting any support. He did at least manage to get Barkskin from Cubsy. Cubsy's actually running out in midfield. Burn can connect potentially some damage. Bit on the back foot and struggling. Korlik has to abandon the push and reposition to heal Burn. No interrupts available. A bit surprising to not just see Korlik casting Holy Lights right now. He's going to fall pretty far behind, wasting a lot of time now into Polymorph, but on diminishing return, fortunately. So it will reduce the crowd control chain quite a lot. Cubsy in a blind. Nick trying to punish the Gladiator's Medallion usage earlier on, but full blind sap and absolutely no damage onto the side of Cloud9. That's going to be devastating for No Name. They try and keep the chain going with a Shadow Fury, lobbing out a Chaos Bolt, dispelling off the shield absorption effect from Wealthy Man, but even still not enough to get the ice block. Smoke Bomb now committed. If they don't find an ice block with this, I mean, they're so far behind.
Yeah, Wealthy Man's going to be fine now. A full Cyclone on Nick, and this is a problem. Wealthy Man baits Nick into the open, gets the Polymorph. Cubsy can follow it up, and now Wealthy Man starts to get aggressive. Burn shuts that down a little bit with the double Mortal Coil. Has a Polymorph over onto Korlik, but that double Mortal Coil shuts it down. Burn, once again, gets interrupted. Now in a Kidney Shot. Blessing of Protection trades from Korlik. That was a little interesting. I mean, I guess the one thing No Name have going for them on the smaller map is it's going to be a lot more difficult for Cubsy to actually manage to sneak away from a drink. This is an all-in attempt. Kidney Shot over onto into Hammer of Justice on Cubsy, but there's just no damage. Cubsy's completely fine.
Burn interrupted, stunned at low health.
Burn's going to be in some trouble with the Divine Shield. I think Korlik should be able to keep him alive. Nice Cyclone on that Divine Favor heal, completely shutting down Korlik. If Cloud9 can get crowd control on Korlik, this is a nightmare situation for No Name.
All right, let's see. Cloud9 have, I would say, total control of this game. No Name need to kill Cubsy quick, but all three members have to connect if they're going to take him down. Cubsy comes out of the stun, utilizing Iron Bark to reduce damage. Swiftmend and heals back to full. Nick and Apolly can't keep attacking. Burn still just getting destroyed right now in game number 2. Full Polymorph. This could be the end of the game, even with Unending Resolve. They strip off the Gladiator Safeguard. They're cutting right through the defense. If they can deny Korlik's big heal here with the Avenging Wrath, certainly Burn will fall. Can they interrupt him is the question. He's trying to just use Light of the Martyr and heal Burn back up. It does look like Burn is stabilized. No interrupts available. They need to get an ice block with this opportunity from Wealthy Man. They're pushing for it. They're so close. They interrupt him on Frost. Maybe they can kill him. A 3-second window. A miracle opportunity. 6 seconds away from Iron Bark of Cubsy. 3 seconds away. Wealthy Man stunned at half, but a huge heal is going to save the day as both teams stabilize.
Yep, Cubsy now gets the Cyclone over onto Nick. Korlik needs to be careful. He has to avoid Polymorph at all costs, but that consistent damage of the Assassination Rogue really paying dividends here over onto Burn. We're just a few seconds away from dampening kicking in. And Korlik's almost just completely tapped on mana. There's the Polymorph. Burn's in a Kidney Shot. I think that's the end of the game. How does Burn hold on? Shadow Fury lands looking for a fear, but the Cyclone on Corlick should be the final nail in the coffin. Maybe he can actually live. No, Wealthy Man closes it out, and this is how we expect this. I would not expect Nick to be locked in on the Frost Mage in this matchup. Nick Frost Mage, I've never seen, so we'll see how this works out. Of course, this is a composition Cloud9 knows pretty well. If anyone knows how to beat Mage Lock Druid, it is going to be Cloud9. Rogue Mage Druid versus the Mage Lock Druid, no name. Looking to put a point on the board here against Cloud9, but it just seems like so far Cloud9 is leaps and bounds ahead of No Name in this series, at least.
Oh, a full Hibernate, that is devastating. Into a Polymorph. Burn in a lot of trouble early on from Cloud9. They seem to be not even remotely afraid of the Mage Warlock Druid of No Name, and if they can keep up this pressure, I would say that they're looking solid to take the rest of this series. Finally, counter pressure on Snuts. He gets caught overextended. Ironbark going to save him from Cubsy just in the nick of time.
Yeah, Snuts completely A-OK. He still has the Cloak of Shadows. He's got the evasion. That was the Ironbark from Cubsy that did manage to stabilize Snuts. Now Wealthy Man going to be taking a little bit of damage. We'll have to see how this plays out. I feel like in dampening, at least Cloud9 will have an edge, but it seems like Cloud9 right now, they are not afraid to push in, go for plays, go for crowd control. Cubsy gets shut down on that Cyclone. Good denial there by No Name, but a full blind lands. Corlick forced to trinket out, and he trades out his Ironbark to keep Burn nice and healthy. Can they get the counter pressure onto Snuts? Nick's gonna have to get work done, but it's getting controlled right now. Wealthy Man, Cubsy, they're pushing in. They're looking for crowd control in Corlick. They managed to find the Polymorph. He's got no trinket. Full kidney shot over onto Burn. Is there any follow-up? Unfortunately not. Burn gets topped off. Good job by Nick, slowing down the Cyclones from Cubsy with that counterspell.
All right, Cloud9, let's see if you can close this out here. No Gladiator's Medallion for some time on Corlick, although on Tolvaron Arena it will be difficult for Cloud9 to close the gap and get on top of Corlick, which is certainly going to be favored to No Name. If there was a chance for them, it would be here. Burn gets stunned up. Corlick going to respect this attack and utilize Ironbark, but it wasn't Vendetta, which is actually now available for Snuts. This could be a power play from Snuts in 8 seconds. They could likely find a kill or force even more significant cooldowns. 3 seconds before that cooldown is available, Cloud9 are jumping in, securing crowd control on Corlick. Snuts gets Mortal Coiled away. Burn trying to stall as long as possible for Corlick to get out of the Cyclone. Snuts still a bit reluctant to pull the trigger on that Vendetta just yet, perhaps waiting for a smoke bomb. They interrupt the Shadow Fury. Gladiator's Mallet gets the spell, but Corlick with a big mistake, getting caught in a Polymorph from Wealthy Man. This could just be the end of the match. The Gladiator safeguard drain life from Burn. Corlick gets sapped as he tries to come into the smoke bomb. Beautiful plays by Snuts as he sets up the ultimate crowd control chain to 3-0 No Name.
Yep.
See if it works out. I think that Holy Paladin could work if they go for a long game here.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Kind of a rogue mage Paladin almost, but Trill on the Windwalker. It's what we saw from Getchur Boy Dog. It's Sea-Doo on that Paladin. 64% of you guys think they're going to be able to win this one as we kick off the game here on the Grand Arena.
Yeah, Blinding Light into Paralysis on a Gorecki. Good pressure here developing for Method Orange. Full Hammer of Justice. These crowd control chains are a little bit scary for Gorecki to deal with. But now that they've faded, I mean, Seed is actually making an offensive push with his Avenging Crusader. Chun-Li could be in a little bit of trouble, and Sam-I-Am with the Blessing of Freedom is going to be looking quite healthy to escape and run away. The thing is, with Gorecki on the Resto Shaman, he's going to be able to purge off the Ice Bear. He's going to be able to purge off the Blessing of Freedom, and maybe the boys sort of anticipated this pick coming in from Method Orange, because I think the Shaman is going to really help Chun-Li and Smexen stay on target.
Chun-Li already burning through Fortified and Brew, as well as the Touch of Karma. Touch of Death available for Trill. You could definitely lead here with the next leg sweep. Potentially just kill Chun-Li outright if Gorecki isn't careful. Chun-Li going to portal away and try and stall that attack as long as possible. Trill instead using the Touch of Death on Smexen and switching targets. I'm not the biggest fan of this swap to the Death Knight. Maybe deeper into dampening that would have made sense, but this early on it doesn't really. And Sam-I-Am's now in trouble. Big hits to purge off the Ice Barrier.
That's an overlap
that is
too.
A significant error on the side of Method Orange.
Big mistakes from Method Orange. Sam-I-Am almost going down. Complete panic mode. big burst from the boys. What is Method Orange going to do? This is such an important match for them. They have to win this series against the boys if they want to keep collecting as many points as possible. Their spot at the Summer Finals is not secure whatsoever. Smexon getting bursted down. Paralysis on Gorecki. Good offensive push here by Method Orange. Asphyxiate stun going to be landing over onto Sea-Doo. And they are getting damage rolling on Samheim. He hasn't used the Cold Snap just yet, but certainly wants to get that rolling as soon as possible. Temporal Shield going to be rolling in. Trill with a defensive leg sweep onto Chun-Li, onto Smexon. Buys Sea-Doo enough time with that Avenging Crusader to top off his team.
All right, Sea-Doo going to stabilize. Chun-Li recovering. Method Orange switch to Smexon again. They have burned a ton of Gorecki's mana. An insane amount of mana this early on, but I think that's more attributed to Gorecki using Purge to remove the ice barrier of Samheim. That seems to be the strategy that the boys want to implement here as a counter to the Frost Mage, is bringing in the Shaman to remove ice barrier. It works against the Paladin Mage, but against the Druid Mage, there's a lot more buffs to work through. It may net them victory, though. Samheim's just outright dead. The
what
boys
just
are
happened?
Clean up Method Orange in less than 3 minutes.
A player has to move there through the Frostmage snares and stop that drink.
This is a very peculiar series. Like I was expecting Gorecki on Druid, I was expecting Sea-Doo potentially on Paladin, but normally we've seen him on the Druid. Both of them are swapping over to alternate healers here. Method Orange, they need to find a way of bouncing back in this series. This is their advantage in terms of composition picks, supposedly. Let's see how they get it done.
Yeah.
Very surprised to see them try it again, although that wasn't the best sample size of game number 1. You would have thought that if Gorecki's playing Shaman, Windwalker DK, Method Orange would play at least some version of Windwalker DK, if not the Shaman version themselves, and try and take that advantage of Sea-Doo's experience with that healer and go head-to-head. So far, decent amount of damage on the Smexon early on. Actually, a bit surprising the amount of pressure from Method Orange.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Chun-Li forced to run away. It was the touch of karma. Tried to use that a little bit aggressively there, but Sea-Doo didn't trade out the Blessing of Protection. I like that. I think Chun-Li was probably expecting it, and if we did see the Blessing of Protection trade out, then of course Chun-Li would have just used Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew, kited, survived. Of course he would anticipate a play like that against the Holy Paladin, so I think Sea-Doo being a little bit more patient with those cooldowns is going to be really important in this matchup. Samheim, of course, that was his Icy Veins. Trill does have the touch of karma. It's rolling. Chun-Li could be in some trouble. We got a polymorph onto Gorecki. He gets out of the crowd control. Fortifying Brew active for Chun-Li right now as he uses Transcendence to escape and get behind the pillar. He's going to be just fine. Now continuing the assault onto Samheim. Specs and Chun-Li looking for uptime on Sam. If they can get it, it's going to be looking good. Mana's relatively even at this point in the game. And sparks are flying. I mean, Chun-Li's been taking heavy damage. Samheim getting bursted down at times as well. Sea-Doo has a little bit of recovery he has to do, but he's caught in paralysis. This is a time for the boys to make a move.
All right, let's see if they can make a move. Touch of Death going to be Blessing of Protection and removed by Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo secures crowd control onto Gorecki. But do they have the continued chain? Paralysis, no stun. Chun-Li able to avoid the fight long enough for Gorecki to get a crowd control. Likely that we see the boys recover. The major thing that Gorecki needs to be worried about is Counterspell from Samheim. He's the only one who's going to be casting spells that are interruptible. Samheim is going to be almost always focusing Counterspell on Gorecki. If he does get Counterspell, that's just going to add some extra seconds to the crowd control chain. Likely enough that Method Orange could find a kill. Hammer of Justice there from Sea-Doo, nets them Touch of Karma from Chun-Li, as well as Lichborn from Smexon. 2 cooldowns for 1 crowd control, certainly a favorable exchange for Method Orange.
Yeah, looks like Sea-Doo will be able to keep Sam alive. Still hasn't had to use an Ice Block just yet. Chun-Li and Smexon continuing the assault. Ultimate Sacrifice rolls in from Sea-Doo. Okay, well, Samheim's going to be able to survive off that. I actually don't think it's the Ultimate Sacrifice, so Sea-Doo playing the small sacrifice, double Blessing of Protection in this matchup. Samheim will be able to survive. I don't mind that trade from Sea-Doo now that I know he's not playing Ultimate Sacrifice. A little bit of a preemptive play as he was lacking a little healing. Doesn't want to fall behind too quickly. Smexon getting low. Interrupt secured. Over onto Gorecki. Uses the Ascendance. And that should be enough to keep Smexon nice and healthy. Gorecki finally landing a few heals. Ride the Wind drops down from Chun-Li, allowing Smexon and himself uptime onto Samheim as he uses Shimmer to escape. Temporal Shield trades out. Smexon and Chun-Li still looking to get the damage rolling, but Sea-Doo with counter crowd control onto Gorecki lines the Blinding Light. Is there anything else? Samheim getting low, forced into the Ice Block. This is the offensive push from Method Orange, and look at how far on the back foot they are. All three members rotting down low. Smexon could be in a little trouble, but I feel like Gorecki's going to be able to keep him alive.
All right, can he do it? Gorecki's mana is very low. So is Seedu's. Sam with one more ice block remaining. Doesn't want to make the same mistake of not using the Cold Snap as he did in game number 1. Chun-Li's defense rotated back up and available as well. The boys looking solid here. Good push. Seedu's struggling. Sam trying to blink away. Blessing of Protection could be purged off by Gorecki. Unlikely, though, due to the limitations of his mana. If the boys want to continue this aggressive purge strategy, they're going to need to try and set up Gorecki for a drink. Looks like instead switching targets to Trill. Trying to force cooldowns onto 2 members, but Avenging Crusader is still rolling for Seedu, which is allowing him more than an easy recovery.
Yeah, and it looks like Sam does manage to get the Cold Snap off. He's going to be able to survive. Gorecki's mana is just doing so bad in this situation. I mean, equally so for Seedu. We're not even at dampening, and both these healers are out of mana. There's just been so much pressure for both teams rolling. It's been a struggle for both healers to keep up. Seedu does have a lead, and I have to say, with the Vision of Perfection, if he can proc the Avenging Crusader, that's going to be a full health bar for Sam. Seedu just has to hold on, and I feel like the Holy Paladin's so good in this situation. If they can last till Gorecki's out of mana, it's going to be prime. Gorecki going for a drink, Trill shuts that down, and unfortunately for the boys, they're still going to have a mana disadvantage, and Chun-Li's going to be in a lot of trouble here, Sid.
Chun-Li is going to be in a lot of trouble if they can continue the chain, but maybe not even needing the chain. Chun-Li is still just getting owned. Gorecki's going to drop Spirit Link Totem. He has completely 0 mana. Dampening has just kicked in. There's still one more ice block for Sam. This composition is looking a lot better in game number 2. Method Orange cleaning up their mistakes that they made in game 1. I'm wondering what counter picks the boys have, assuming they lose to game number 2 here, to deal with this Paladin Mage Windwalker.
We're going to have to wait and see. I feel like the Destruction Warlock wouldn't be too bad of an option for them in this particular matchup. I think he'd be able to bully the Paladin. There's not too much defense on the side of Method Orange, but we'll have to wait and see. First of all, Method Orange have to win this matchup. Gorecki, once again, he's going to be looking to drink. Seedu charging in, wants to keep him in combat, but Seedu can't afford to fall too far behind. Gorecki, once again, he's trying to recover mana. Is he going to be able to? Gets 1 tick of mana as Trill is forced to move in and actually shut down that drink. Now Seedu in a prime position to land a Hammer of Justice. Full sheep on Gorecki. He trinkets out. Chun-Li in a lot of trouble. Sam and Trill trying to close out the game. They're making an offensive push. Chun-Li's just so low. Defensive maneuvers coming in. Ascendance pops out for Gorecki with the Earthen Wall Totem. Chun-Li does manage to survive, but he doesn't have any defensive cooldowns for so long. Things are looking better and better for Method Orange.
All right, can they pull it off here? They've set themselves up for success. Chun-Li on the run, but Seedu's right on top of him. Sam is sniping him. Trill gets peeled away for a moment, but Gorecki is still crowd controlled. Chun-Li has to keep himself going single-handedly. Popping that Fortifying Brew, reducing the damage during the stun, but that is a full polymorph, a fully channeled Ray of Frost, and I'm not sure if its defense will be enough. Chun-Li, Ring of Pieces, 2 members of Method Orange away, rolls back to Gorecki's side. Gorecki goes for the Healing Surge, no counterspell for 1 more second. Gorecki needs to be careful. If he's interrupted, it could be the end of the game. So instead, the boys are going to retreat out of range of the counterspell, recover for a moment, and then look to push out.
Chun-Li holds on as he moves forward with the Ride the Wind. Leg sweep now secured on Sam. We got the Temporal Shield. Sacrifice trades out from Seedu, but they are just pushing through. Sam's going to be in some trouble. Smexon trying to stay on target. Chun-Li getting... Oh, he's got the Karma. Can he get the Touch of Karma off?
Bob
gets it off on Seedu.
Yeah.
Bubble comes in. Nice plays. And Method Orange exploiting the fact that Chun-Li's touch seconds until the gates open up. I feel like Plugonomics is going to be able to put out a lot of pressure on this map, maintain and get a lot of fears, but like Zico kind of mentioned, if Sam is just throwing out the Kleptomania on cooldown, he's removing all those heal over time effects, then the boys are actually susceptible to just going out of mana and losing that way, which means the boys are on a time limit. They have to play aggressive in this matchup if they want to win.
All right, let's see if the boys can close it out here. Seedu's moving in first, looking for a Hammer of Justice, going to be nailing Gorecki, but Sam's falling behind us. Seedu overextended for that crowd control. He's relying on the Temporal Shield. Meanwhile, Thugonomics is just taking a beating. Unending Resolve already used. Gorecki has to panic, trinket, activate Iron Bark. Thugonomics is maybe just dead. This is an insane amount of damage from Method Orange in game 3.
What?
Potentially a throwaway from the boys.
Wow.
Thugonomics barely holds on.
I actually can't believe he's alive, and I also can't believe he even got that low. What was that?
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right. Thuganomics gets interrupted. Looking for a Chaos Bolt. Big damage coming in. Looking for one on Samayam. Looking for two. Manages to find it, but Samayam just going to be completely fine. Avenging Crusader for Paladins is super strong. And I feel like CD realized that, and that's why he's been investing so much time into the Holy Paladin. It just seems like the Holy Paladin healing really strong right now, especially with that Vision of Perfection, and he's been able to hold on. He can also help his team with that extra little bit of damage, and maybe that's why Thuganomics fell behind so quickly at the beginning of the game.
All right, let's see if they can capitalize on all of that momentum. Was all of their cooldowns though, so their damage, their burst damage has definitely subsided. This should be an opportunity for the boys to battle back if they can get crowd control on Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo playing at the pillar though, line of sighting Thuganomics, as well as Gorecki, although Gorecki, I believe, is wrapping around. Sea-Doo actually gets caught in fear. Perhaps a bit of a mistake here for Method Orange. How much are they going to get out of this? Touch of Death going to be popped by Chun-Li. Big push on Sam. Sea-Doo's going to fully respect it, use Blessing of Protection, and then get aggressive. Stunning Gorecki. Thuganomics isolated. Polymorph secured. It could be the end of Thuganomics. Chun-Li interrupted on his support. Huge burst to follow through, but they need more crowd control. Sea-Doo's got it. Blinding Light lands. Drain Life, the only thing keeping Thuganomics going. Surprisingly quite long. One more Polymorph. Thuganomics gates away, but Thuganomics bought just enough time for Ironbark. Is that going to be enough? Thuganomics gets Ring of Peace out of his own Ring of Peace. Gorecki gets counterspelled. How is he even still alive at this point? His crowd control chain has been upwards of 25 seconds, and he's actually still alive.
Thuganomics holds on, and he's going to be able to hold on a little bit longer, maybe. I mean, Gorecki, this push, this damage from Method Orange is absolutely insane. I cannot believe Thuganomics is still alive, but somehow, some way, Gorecki does manage to do it. Thuganomics managing to kite away and survive. Infernals drop down. They're looking for a Chaos Bolt. Big leg sweep coming in from Chun-Li. Samurai might be forced into his Ice Block. Avenging Crusader proc Sacrifice comes in as well. Sea-Doo's going to be able to hold on, and actually, you can see right now, Method Orange, they're a little bit behind on mana. If Gorecki can just maintain this somehow, I mean, Samurai just threw in a Kleptomania Spellsteal, so he's going to have to play catch-up, and that's going to even out the mana, but still, Method Orange, they've had so much pressure in this game. It really feels like it's their game to lose.
Danger time for Trill here, caught in a stun. Touch of Karma trading out, but overlap with the Blessing of Protection. Significant error on the side of Method Orange. Mana is still even, so certainly the boys could stay in this if they can keep Thuganomics alive and keep them going. We're still about a minute and 15 away from dampening, and at that point, is it still favorable for Method Orange? I think it's likely. Reducing the Soul Leech, healing of the Warlock is going to be important. Ice Barrier absorbing some damage for Samayam as he is back behind the corner. Sea-Doo in a position to pick him up, but he needs to avoid fear. He can't afford to be caught in that without any initial crowd control. Paralysis, huge hit from Thuganomics. Samayam activating Temporal Shield. Big heal from that. Good timing on his part. Now Method Orange counterattack. Full stun lock on the entire team. Thuganomics going to break out and try and disrupt. How much disruption can he provide? The crowd control chain is continuing, but now finally over. The disruption looks like it's going to be more than enough. Sea-Doo feared away. Samayam getting bursted. Ice Barrier going to absorb some hits. Sea-Doo connects a big heal with Divine Favor. Gorecki jumping into the fight, stunning Sam, but Avenging Crusader active for Sea-Doo. Unlikely that we see too much pressure on his team, as this cooldown is very powerful at increasing his healing, unless he is crowd controlled, but it looks like the boys don't have any at this moment in time.
Kleptomania Spellsteal once again paying dividends here for Method Orange. Gorecki's falling behind on mana, and I don't know if he's going to really be able to drink. Dampening is just kicking in 3, 2, 1. Dampening initiated, and it's going to be more difficult for Thuganomics to actually stay alive in this match. At the same time, Sea-Doo might struggle to keep Sam alive, but I just feel like as this game progresses, the Holy Paladin is going to start getting more and more of an advantage against the Restoration Druid. Thuganomics kind of a sitting duck. Chun-Li, Thuganomics, they got to start getting some pressure rolling. Trill manages to shut down the Chaos Bolt. Nicely done. Sam, I am not overreacting. He's just going to be using that Gladiator Safeguard in order to survive that attempt. Sea-Doo has to play catch-up. Gorecki trades out the Ironbark to stay ahead, and he's looking for a drink. This is a very important moment in the match. If Gorecki can sneak away and drink, it's going to be great, but Trill shuts him down. Method Orange has been doing a really good job with drink denial in this game.
Despite their early offense and massive cooldowns forced, Method Orange are starting to fall apart a bit here. Now down one Ice Block. Mana is still even. Fortunately, though, like you said, their drink denial has been on point, so Grecky hasn't been able to build any sort of advantage in that regard for the late game. Thugonomics still the primary target. He's got Infernals available, and he's got crowd control on Sea-Doo. This may be the opportunity for Thugonomics. Sam-I-Am retreating back behind the wall, though, out of line of sight. Thugonomics waddling his Warlock over there to try and get in line of sight to dish out some damage. Sam-I-Am blinking through him to deny the Chaos Bolt. Sea-Doo using Ultimate Sacrifice a bit preemptively. Now it looks like he's trying to get aggressive with its defense active, but it was before the Infernals. Still a big opportunity for Thugonomics. Touch of Death available. Sea-Doo is crowd controlled. Grecky crowd controlled as well. Who's going to be in trouble first? Iron Park fades on Thugonomics. Frozen Orb is down. Sam-I-Am could be devastating here. Thugonomics trying to take control of the fight with the Mortal Coils again installed, calling in the Infernals to try and scare Method Orange away. Although with Avenging Crusader up, I would not like to see them retreat. I think this cooldown is more than enough for them to keep pursuing. Although if Sea-Doo does get crowd controlled, likely it is wise to retreat away. Sam-I-Am going to be line of sight, and Trill abandoning the push as well, although catching one Chaos Bolt. Quite a lot of damage. Divine Favor available for Sea-Doo. Surprising to not see him commit it just yet to avoid the spell lock and recover. Going to be using the Avenging Crusader instead. Big Judgment heal. Potential pressure on Thugonomics as Gorecki's mana is getting zeroed out.
Yeah, and look, Gorecki with no mana is really going to struggle to keep Thugonomics alive. Sam-I-Am has the Icy Veins. Troll has a Touch of Death. Method Orange right now, they have all the tools they need. There's a Fear over onto Sea-Doo, but Sea-Doo's mana is not doing that great either. Sam-I-Am has managed to hold on to at least one Ice Block at this point of the game. We're at 16% dampening. What's going to happen? Chun-Li needs to start getting some pressure rolling for his team. He moves forward. He's trying to get damage rolling on Sam-I-Am. Equally so, Trill's trying to get damage rolling. Gorecki trying to get out of combat. Trill shuts him down. Gorecki right now in stealth and a paralysis. Sea-Doo finds the Hammer of Justice. Here it is. Icy Veins trades out. Gorecki is not messing around. He does not want to fall far behind. Throws out the Iron Bark, trades out his Trinket to keep Thugonomics nice and healthy. Keep in mind, Thugonomics, he still has the Unending Resolve. There's a Fear on Sea-Doo. Shadow Fury, Chaos Bolt on Sam. Sam's in some trouble. What is he going to be able to do? He's running away from Chun-Li. He's out of line of sight of Thugonomics, but he has to be careful. He's far away from Sea-Doo at this point of the game. Sea-Doo might actually be able to start landing some heals. He tried to escape for a drink, but unfortunately the Fell Hunter is going to shut that down, is going to deny it, and I mean, it looks like Gorecki's been able to hold on with basically fumes on mana at this point. I think Sea-Doo's going to be able to do the same. I'm not actually sure if mana is going to be the deciding factor of this game.
It could just be a huge swing amount of burst damage, certainly at 22% dampening. Sea-Doo's Avenging Crusader active. This could be threatening for Thugonomics. What kind of cooldowns are they going to exchange? Gorecki jumps into the fight, stuns Sea-Doo. Thugonomics Mortal Coil Sam and Trill to try and stall, but now Gorecki is stunned and Thugonomics is in trouble. That Soul Leech is not going to be nearly effective at 25% dampening. All three members of Method Orange just throwing everything they've got at Thugonomics. Iron Bark activates, but may not be enough. Infernal's called in for Thugonomics. He's going to pop the Unending Resolve. He's going to go for the YOLO bolts and try and get a kill here. He's desperate. Sam-I-Am's going to fully respect this. He knows that Thugonomics is desperate. If he doesn't tank any of this damage, it's likely they can push him over in the near future.
Yeah, Thugonomics lands Fear on Trill. Trill trades out his Karma. Now there's two vulnerable targets. Sam's got no Ice Block for 2 minutes. Trill's got no Touch of Karma. Chun-Li might actually make a swap, but he's just going all in. He's got the Touch of Death roll in. Sam-I-Am, how are you going to survive? He gets exploded. Good night, Sam. The boys up 2.
Shaman, maybe on a smaller map, could work out. Honestly, I think Method Orange are doing the right play here, locking in this comp over and over, because it feels like this comp just beats pretty much everything that the boys have if they play it well.
Yep, well, we'll have to see. Obviously, Method Orange facing match point here. If they lose, they will be knocked down to the lower bracket. They'll actually play against the team that knocked out the move, Getchur Boy Dog, for a chance at top 4 tomorrow. But obviously, they'd much rather just win this one. If they can turn this around, they'll get a top 3 finish, which would be the ideal scenario for Sea-Doo and his team. Yeah,
Asphyxiate stun onto Sea-Doo. We'll have to see for the boys. How is the Restoration Druid going to work out for them? Because the thing is, now without the Shaman, without Purge, Sam-I-Am's going to be able to just walk away with freedom. Blessing on Freedom is really good. Frost Mages are already so slippery with Cone of Cold, with Roots, Novas. It's really difficult to actually chase them down. So I feel like the fact that he's just going to be able to hold on to those Blessing of Freedoms in this match is going to be really strong for Method Orange. But we'll have to see, maybe with the Druid, the boys will be a little bit more durable. Gorecki is probably going to opt to play a little bit more defensive in this matchup. Seadu's going to be looking to set up his team with crowd control. Once he pushes in, he can land the Hammer of Justice. He has the Blinding Light. There's a lot of tools Method Orange have at their disposal. They can honestly just go for crowd control chains such as Paralysis into a Hammer of Justice. That's enough time with Kleptomania where they can really start developing some pressure, especially as we make it deeper into dampening if we get to that point.
They lose a lot of offense, bringing in the Druid over the Shaman, but they also remove a large amount of room for error. As the Restoration Shaman, if they overextend their mana to purge, then they run out too quickly. If they get caught and interrupted, the game can just instantly end. So the Druid is a lot safer overall, and it makes sense that the boys would want to experiment because Method Orange are playing a new composition. They want to make sure that the Druid isn't the best healer for the matchup, and if it is, then should they meet later on in the tournament, because the boys will then face Cloud9, and let's face it, Thugbear wasn't enough for them to win last week. Thugbear's probably not enough for them to still win this week, so it's likely that we would see potentially a rematch between these teams. So it is important for the boys to measure what is their best composition overall into Method Orange. Seadu currently stunned up. Sam-I-Am the target. Not enough damage, unfortunately, to force anything of significance. Just the Avenging Crusader, which now the boys need to respect, likely. Okay, sort of not even having to make a trade. Seadu not getting too much damage off the back of it. Sam-I-Am trying to utilize that Blizzard, hitting a lot of those ghouls from Smex and resetting that Frozen Orb quite rapidly. Sam-I-Am's looking to just maximize his damage, maximize his spell steals, pressing them on cooldown to run Gorecki out of mana. And this could be an effective strategy.
I mean, definitely could be. We've seen it play out in the past for compositions like Rogue Mage. I would expect it to play out similarly for Windwalker Mage. Chun-Li in some trouble. Full polymorph snuck in there by Sam-I-Am. Very nicely done. Chun-Li on the run. He used Diffuse Magic, but he has the Karma. But keep in mind, Seadu on the Holy Paladin can remove that Touch of Karma. We'll have to see if he's going to do it. Doesn't look like it just yet. Chun-Li trades the Touch of Karma onto Trill. Trill actually getting bursted down at this moment. Chun-Li and Smexon putting out really big cleave damage, and Seadu, without his Avenging Crusader, is going to be difficult for him to actually top off his team. We'll see what happens. If we look at mana, Seadu, Gorecki actually relatively even at this point in the match, and that could definitely be a deciding factor moving forward.
All right, Gorecki, mana's not looking, well, actually it's looking okay. It's not in the worst condition. I was actually anticipating it to be a bit worse than it is now. Chun-Li, though, could be vulnerable if he's not careful with no Touch of Karma and no Diffuse Magic for 40-some-odd seconds, although now it's Sam-I-Am in trouble. Seadu in crowd control. Seadu can respect this push, trade the Blessing of Sacrifice, and it's now Chun-Li getting it reversed onto him. He's going to abandon the push, Transcendence away. Gorecki pulling out as well, trying to max his distance from Seadu. Chun-Li controlling Seadu for a moment. Seadu wants to likely go for a Hammer of Justice, so Chun-Li is trying to protect Gorecki. Now Gorecki sneaks in, bashes Seadu. Chun-Li's going to go after Seadu, forcing him away. Sam and Seadu both very low on health. Temporal Shield about to go off. Risky gamble here on match point, but Sam-I-Am gets away with it.
Yep, greed pays off for Sam-I-Am. Sometimes greed is good. Seadu now with the Avenging Crusader will top off his team. I'm not sure if it was a Vision of Perfection proc or he actually was running the ability, or he used the ability. It was the actual Avenging Crusader, so now it won't have that available. Chun-Li going to be riding that wind with Smexon to stay on target. Paralysis on Seadu. Decent crowd control here for the boys as they look to make a push, but Sam-I-Am's going to be completely fine. Vision of Perfection pops for Seadu. And this is the power of this ability. You can see if Seadu can actually get off damage, unfortunately wasn't able to find any. Divine Favor comes in, tops off Sam-I-Am. Method Orange looking healthy, looking good. Seadu finds crowd control onto Gorecki. Chun-Li's got to be a little bit careful. He uses the Diffuse Magic. He's on the run. He's trying to escape, but Trill is all over him at this point of the game. Fortifying Brew does trade out for Chun-Li. He used it defensive, so he can't combo that with the Touch of Death for the additional damage at this point. Good pressure here for Method Orange, but Gorecki's been able to maintain his mana at this point in the game, and as we move forward into dampening, I still can't help but feel like Method Orange will start developing more and more of a lead.
And it's still even. Pressure's on. Method Orange are on match point. They have a good opportunity to secure their top 4 in points with Resurgent and the move already out of the competition. So certainly they don't want to be losing to the boys in the upper round. They'd like to get as far as they can for as best of a guaranteed finish as they can. I'm wondering what compositions they've prepared to try and take down Cloud9. I'm actually wondering what composition anyone in North America has planned to take down Cloud9, because their Rogue Mage Druid has just been wreaking havoc. No one has been able to stand against them, either in mirror or with a counter pick. Grecky and Hammer of Justice, but Sam who's in trouble. Sea-Doo in a stun. Sam likely having to block here. Smexen gripping Sam I am in. Gladiator safeguard. A massive, gigantic absorb is going to allow Sam I am to survive that assault. Chun-Li now on the back foot. Trill trying to push him over. Chun-Li with the Fist of Fury, parrying all of Trill's attacks, trying to deny the Storm, Earth, and Fire there of Trill. Managing to do so now. Gorecki and Chun-Li retreating away from Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo still marching forward, but now crowd controlled. Smexen still trying to chop up Sam I am, but Pollied. Gorecki way out of range and out of line of sight. Smexen's going to have to sit that crowd control, unfortunately. Now Cone of Cold. See Sam I am taking a beating here. Fist of Fury doing a lot of damage. Sea-Doo going to respect it a bit prematurely, at least denying the touch of death damage on Sam. Now Sea-Doo with that grace period is trying to charge forward and crowd control Gorecki. What is Chun-Li going to do? He needs to avoid Trill during this time. He has managed to. Trill just trying to play tag and catch Chun-Li, but connects to him once the crowd control is over, so Gorecki should stabilize, although he has basically 0 mana left. I'm trying to look at the options here. If I'm the boys, I mean, you may have to just go after Sea-Doo. You still have 2 more ice blocks to get through with an out-of-mana Resto Druid. It's not looking good.
I mean, it certainly isn't. At this point, Method Orange, they've developed a huge lead. Icy Veins available for Sam I am. Trill has the touch of death. There's a lot of damage potential, and I mean, at 15% dampening, this is the moment of the game where you can actually start just going after Smexen if you really want to. The Death Knight starts becoming more and more vulnerable as dampening gets higher. We'll have to see, but Method Orange falling a little bit behind right now. The boys are stable, and they're actually getting a lot of pressure rolling. Sea-Doo's going to have to hold on for another 7 seconds. Is he going to be able to do it? Avenging Crusader rolling up soon. Sam I am with his Icy Veins, not able to get anything done whatsoever. Unfortunately, now Sam can just fall. Cold Snap, Ice Block, Overlap, Blessing of Protection, Avenging Crusader, Method Orange. They trade out everything. Somehow Gorecki's managed to get some mana back, and things aren't looking too bad for the boys.
That was a Cold Snap block. Sam's got nothing. Sea-Doo's crowd, he has to divine, he has no mana. Both sides have no mana, but the boys have more defense at this point in time. I thought Method Orange were easily going to be taking this.
This is match point.
They're desperate now. They're going after Smexen. They need to kill him with this touch of death. How is the boys going to deal with it? They trade Lichborn. It needs to be enough. They're going to Iron Bark as well. It may not be. They get Gladiator Safeguard. Now suddenly Smexen has nothing. Both teams have nothing. They're just going to be running at each other. Zug, NA style to the finish. It's match point, though, for Method Orange. If they falter, they will be going down to the lower bracket. Gorecki and a Polymorph. Smexen still the target and dampening, but is dampening deep enough. Touch of death for Chun-Li. This could be devastating.
Ooh, Smexen's getting low, but Sam, he's in so much trouble. Sacrifice trades out by Sea-Doo. He's trying to keep Sam alive. He's trying desperately. Sam I am just spamming out the Polymorphs, but he gets interrupted. Safeguard procs. That really is the last line of defense. Sam I am trying to hightail it out of there, but Gorecki finds the bash. Ring of Peace looking to deny Chun-Li. Just a little bit nicely done by Trill, backing up his teammate. Smexen could start getting in trouble if Sam I am can somehow stabilize, but Sea-Doo's really struggling. Smexen all over him. Chun-Li lands. Temporal shields there. Sam I am, can you hold on? He's trying to kite away. The boys just seconds away from potentially closing out the game. If they can take down Sea-Doo, they can send them to the lower bracket. Might be able to do it. Sam I am holds on. Ice Barrier trades out Sea-Doo, though. Look at him. He is just completely tapped. He has no mana. Touch of, or Blessing of Protection comes in. Sam I am is actually going to be able to survive a little bit longer.
Sea-Doo gets swapped to. He's got no mana. He needs a Vision of Perfection proc right now. If he doesn't get one right now, I don't know if he can keep this going. His entire team is just dead. The boys have all of the momentum. Sea-Doo stunned up. Sam is likely to fall in the bash. Divine Favor. One little heal from Sea-Doo at 30% dampening. Sam teetering on the edge right now. Sea-Doo in crowd control. Chun-Li with 100% uptime. Sam pops a Temporal. Sea-Doo's trying to buy him. It's a Vision of Perfection proc. Sea-Doo gets the big heals with the Avenging Crusader, and it might add enough damage that they can actually kill Smexen. Iron Bark needs to be enough. Vision Perfection's going to be fading shortly for Sea-Doo. He can't stabilize Sam. Chun-Li is still just owning him. How is Sea-Doo going to keep this going? Avenging Crusader still active.
They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. Smexen's getting so low. No way! Method Orange did a miracle. A complete miracle. They turned it around. Take down Smexen. Unbelievable, and this is why, this has to be why Sea-Doo is focused on the Holy Paladin right now. This really showcases how powerful they are with that Vision of Perfection. You get that at the right moment, you can survive. I really That's incredible.
I can't believe it. I think at the end he did get one Avenging Crusader. He was like kind of bulking his mana for the 10,000 you need for that. But at the same time, I was watching Sidu's character the entire game. There was one point in the game where he got Vision of Perfection, then his Judgment came off cooldown. He got
Summer Finals. Method Orange are going to mirror in game number 5. Tolvaron Arena, not the battlefield I would have expected for 2 North American melee cleaves. Quite an open battlefield. It is certainly going to be favoring the Restoration Druid. Gorecki looking to try and build space. Method Orange looking to close that gap and limits Gorecki's escape. Can Gorecki stay alive through the onslaught?
Oh, this is going to be trouble time for Gorecki. Barkskin, Ironbark, trade out, touch of death. Gorecki, he's in so much trouble, he uses the renewal. Safeguard drops, Gorecki could just die in the opener. Method Orange all in. Gorecki, what are you going to do? He's trying to run, he's trying to hide, he still has his trinket, he's dashing across the map. Trill can't believe that he's not dead yet. And Gorecki manages to maybe survive.
I don't know.
I mean, he's in a full stun, he does trinket out. He uses everything, but Gorecki, with beautiful defensive plays, beautiful peels from Chun-Li and Smexen, manages to escape a situation where I think most Druids probably would have died.
Gorecki needs to get out of range of Death Grip before Barkskin is available. He needs at least 10 more seconds. Let Chun-Li and Smexen take some of the hits and then wait for Barkskin before even getting close to the shredder that is Method Orange, the blender. Let's see if the Death Grip is going to happen, if Mez keeps going for that line, or if he's going to switch targets. Trill used the Touch of Karma aggressively, so that cooldown is out of the way. Smexen taking an extraordinary amount of damage. A bit surprising to see that much pressure onto the Death Knight. It is going to be his Gladiator Safeguard and Anti-Magic Shield, I think, at the same time. Gorecki gripped in, but he saw it coming. So he is in bear form, making him a lot more durable. And with Barkskin during the stun in bear form, he is not going to take nearly as much damage. He's looking to escape as soon as the Fist of Fury is over. He's waiting for it, but the longer he waits, the more damage he takes. He has to use the Ironbark as well. He gets Ring of Beast on his retreat path by Trill. Gorecki in a lot of trouble. Once again, very low on health. Frenzied Regeneration and a quick swift men. Gorecki manages to stay alive.
Yeah, he does manage to live. Ring of Peace comes in from Chun-Li. That's going to allow, it's going to make it really difficult for Mez to stay on target. Trill and Bubble, they can't just leave Mez behind for too long. Hammer of Justice over onto Gorecki. So he actually traded out his Divine Shield in that situation. I'm not exactly sure why. I really am not sure. I think he was trying to get out of his stun maybe to assist Trill on damage. They are really going all in on Gorecki. Gorecki could fall, but it's just so difficult at this point for Trill and Mez to stay on target. They actually switch over to Smexen. They're taking him down, forcing Gorecki's hand, forcing him to get in line of sight. And it seems like Method Orange, they're a lot more comfortable with this composition.
Triple stun from the boys. Trill very low. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc. Touch of Karma exchanged. Sidu's running in for the stun. They're going after Smexen. I anticipate at this moment in time, but Trill is still very low. Eventually, Crusader active for Sidu. Touch of Death as well. Perfect timing by Method Orange to push through. Will the defense that's active be enough? Smexen takes the hit. Barely holds on. Ironbark Lichborn going to be fading, but it looks like Smexen is recovered. Gorecki gripped in, but no stun, unfortunately. Perhaps a bit of a blunder. Now Smexen in trouble. Gorecki's interrupted. The Paladin Windwalker Death Knight is looking deadly.
Method Orange is looking like their old self at this point. They have pressure all over the place. They know exactly what they're doing in this matchup. Smexen's low, Chun-Li's low. You can see Gorecki, his mana is not doing great. He's in a Hammer of Justice. He's got no trinket. Method Orange doing a great job, and they take down Smexen. They actually
How
do
did they
it.
do that?
Method Orange.
shadow of Peekaboo. Now he has the opportunity to deny him Summer Finals, deny him BlizzCon.
Yeah, and he's looking to do that, just that, after the move fell earlier today. Now M2KC already having a point lead with about 40 points. Prior to this, are looking to increase that and really put the pressure on the move next cup.
All right, Subtlety Rogue from Nick. He's been playing this time and time again, and I feel like Zico has complimented it almost every time we've seen it. Initially, we see a lot of damage on Jamili. He's going to have to pop right away.
That wasn't any cooldowns. I mean, look, Nick has everything, Burn has everything.
Subtlety Rogue is the counter.
Maybe it is. I mean, Jamili right now, that's a little bit of trouble.
They
They swap over onto Corlic, though. Big damage here. He's in so much trouble. I think he was on Forbearance. I think he actually used Blessing Protection on a blind.
Against the Holy Paladin, if Corlic could do the damage, he's a Holy Paladin himself. I'm gonna go against you on this one. I'm actually pretty excited to see.
I have the
you have the comb right now, so we'll have to see how this next game plays out.
mean, we certainly will. Kidney shot now on Burn. It looks like M2KC, they're getting aggressive early on. Full blind on Corlick. Blessing of Protection. He's just going to trade out once again. Maybe the move looked to punish, or sorry, maybe M2KC looked to punish Corlick in that exchange once again, but I think he should be able to hold on. Sap landed over onto Rubcub, and I think that's one of the things about the Subtlety Rogue is they can use Sap a lot more often in a matchup like this, and I think he can really set up his team. Corlick in a little bit of trouble. He decides to trade out his Trinket. He's got the Avenging Crusader rolling to keep himself alive from a potential all-in from M2KC. M2KC looking to repeat what they did in game number 1, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Polymorph now over onto Corlick. Kidney shot on Rubka. Big setup coming in from Nick as they're looking to take down Jamili.
Into the Hammer of Justice, both Burn and Jamili in a bit of trouble here at this moment in time. Can they get the cauterized here on Jamili? They need the tiniest bit more damage. They get it! They get the sacrifice from Rubcub as well. Significant cooldowns forced from M2KC. No Name just need to stabilize their defense, and they're looking good, but so far their defense is looking pretty shaky. The kick is going to secure the kill. M2KC take it, but
Have so much damage. I'm actually super curious how bad it would be, especially bear in mind the tournament server, everyone has BIS 445 gear, they have all the essences, they have a lot of damage, these players, to work with. We'll have to see. M2KC are 2-0 up in the series. No Name need now a complete reverse sweep to actually bring this one back.
Mew Mew Kitty Cats are looking furious here in their series in the lower bracket. Is it impossible for No Name to find victory? It might just be.
Yeah.
2-2 was too much.
Could never have too many puns.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Good to know.
Burn.
I like them, Sid. I actually did like those.
Kidney shot on Rubcub, cheap shot on Jamili. Once again, Nick setting his team up, just doing massive damage. Burn, I feel like Burn is never there when Jamili's just dying. It's just Nick just farming. Look at this is really impressive. Burn finally in line of sight, trying to get some damage rolling. Kidney shot secured by Rosies. They're trying to get aggressive over onto Burn. Corlick has to be very careful. He's susceptible to interrupts on that Paladin. Needs to make sure he's faking out the step kick, faking out the counter spell. Burn gets interrupted. Corlick now looking for a Repentance, finds it. Good setup here by No Name.
All right, No Name. This is a good opportunity to stay in the series. Temporal Shield. Oh, massive heal. Rubcub still feared, though. They're following up with further damage. The Destruction Warlock certainly will bring that backup of damage for the Subtlety Rogue. It's an interesting combination of specializations. Will it work out for them is now the question. Huge Meteor connects. Corlick in the Hammer of Justice. Burn, how are you going to stay alive on your own? He fears Roasties. Nick crowd controls 2 members, reversing the pressure in his team's favor, and Burn stays alive.
Yeah, Burn is just such a good target for Roasties in this match. If Jamili's and Rubcub want to, they can just try to stay alive for as long as possible, and slowly but surely, Roasties will start developing a massive lead over onto Burn. Corlick out of line of sight. Jamili trying to get in position to land a polymorph. Fakes out, actually gets interrupted. Nice interrupt there by Burn. Corlick actually gets Shadow Step kicked once again by Roasties. Roasties setting up his team. Corlick needs to be careful. Ultimate Sacrifice comes in to keep Burn alive.
Jamili actually fake casted a polymorph to force out that Hand of Sacrifice there.
Wow. Jamili's making plays with the fake casted polymorph. You like to see that one. Corlick falls for the bait, trying to keep Burn alive. There's the kidney shot. Hammer of Justice over onto Corlick. Burn taking massive damage, and because Jamili got the the ultimate sacrifice out of the way a little bit earlier on, Burn is forced to trade out that unending resolve. And No Name, they're running on fumes in terms of defensives.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for No Name here on match point. 2.5 minutes in, full blind. Burn all alone, trying to drop a Demonic Gateway for an escape, but gets stunned on it. Unfortunately, Roasty's not able to sap, Vanish not available, so the crowd control chain ends. Rubcub tries to keep it going with the Hammer of Justice. Jamili looking to polymorph, but gets denied by Nick. Once again, good backup by the Subtlety Rogue. Repentance secured. Jamili in trouble. Multiple Chaos Bolts incoming. Cauterized triggers. Ice block forced. No Name stay in it.
That was a big temporal shield. Jamili is definitely not happy at Ice Block a second before that one went off, as it did put him full HP. Now Corlick gets interrupted. Once again, kidney shot secured on Burn. Corlick trades out the Blessing of Protection in order to keep him alive, and there's not too much left. I mean, Corlick, he does have the Divine Shield, so he can get out of crowd control, but doesn't have too much healing. In the meantime, though, No Name, they're getting a lot of pressure rolling onto Jamili. He's got no Cauterize, he's got no Ice Block, and Nick is just soloing him down. If he can land crowd control on Rubcub, this is danger time for Jamili. Rubcub gets interrupted, Nick pushing forward. Jamili trying to get the pressure rolling. Maledict now onto Jamili, gets dispelled off by Rubcub, so we can continue the heals, but these Maledict pushes from No Name have been really dangerous on Jamili.
Hopefully the Mew Mew Kitty Cats don't choke on any furballs here. They're only one win away from advancing in the lower bracket. They've got a significant cooldown lead at this point. No Name switching some of their damage to RubCup, trying to catch him off guard, but he seems to be always on guard. Stun now on Corlic. Burn isolated. Ring of Frost secured. It's 3 versus 1. Nick trying to break out and support, but how much support does he have? Drain life. Desperate moves here by No Name, but ultimately buy enough time for Sacrifice to connect. Burn will be stable. RubCub is now stunned. Jamili on the run. Line of sighting the Warlock, knowing that he is the biggest threat, but RubCub has continued to be crowd controlled by the Repentance. Corlic has Avenging Wrath active. He's going to be doing a lot of added damage and healing.
Jamili
Nick is creating a lot of pressure in the backline. RubCub, though, fakes the kick. He's forced to go for a diminishing return stun, but the Vision of Perfection procs Avenging Wrath. RubCub immediately stabilizes, and Jamili goes back to full.
Yep, full HP on Jamili. M2KC, they're looking good to make a push. Blind on Corlic, interrupt on Burn. Burn could be in trouble. Here it is. RubCub, he gets the Hammer of Justice. Nice setup. Double Dragon's Breath comes in. Jamili lands the Polymorph. Burn is all alone. What is he gonna do? If there's any follow-up, this is a complete nightmare for No Name. RubCub trades out his Divine Shield. Smoke Bomb drops out. Jamili looking for a spell steal on that Gladiator. Safeguard lands the Polymorph on Corlic. Meteor comes crashing in. Burn still somehow barely alive. Lands the Shadow Fury. Double Dragon Spell shuts that down. Nicely done by Jamili. And Corlic just in complete panic mode. How is he going to keep this Warlock up?
I'm so surprised that Burn is even still alive at this point in time. Corlic breaks out of the stun on any resolve, just becomes available, but Jamili's trying to poly Corlic. He can't heal and avoid poly at the same time. He tries to reposition, jumping down off the ramp. Jamili looking to pursue after him. Gets the Polymorph, and I mean, this has to be the end of the game. There's nothing left for Burn, and the Mew Mew Kitty Cats are looking marvelous in game number 3, advancing 3-0.
For the Rogue Mage Druid, the boys actually opting for that Shaman as their pick, presumably kind of anticipating this, Zico.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how exactly this matchup is going to play out, but last time we saw Greg on that Shaman, it was all about that purge spam, so I think it's going to be a lot of potential purges onto Grayson as we see Grecki here get immediately polymorphed.
All right, let's see. Getchur Boy Dog, they've got 2 choices. They can either play the dampening late game strategy or the go all out crowd control strategy. Right now they're going for crowd control. Chun-Li is very far behind, trading out a significant amount of his defense within seconds of this match starting. Grecki looking to try and triage him back to full health, activating that Spirit Walker's Grace, avoiding the interrupts of the Rogue Mage Druid and saving Chun-Li, but he definitely needs to be careful, having burned so much early on. Trinketing to avoid the smoke bomb, getting in line of sight of Grecki. Grecki now trinketing out of blind. An opening maybe for a swap. We have seen Restoration Shamans be vulnerable to being trained down. Vendetta available in another minute and 15.
Well, I mean, Getchur Boy Dog had to have seen what Cloud9 did to the boys last week. The boys were completely thrown for a loop with their Windwalker Death Knight. They could not beat Rogue Mage Druid. They just couldn't do it. So Getchur Boy Dog, they're going to try their hand at this composition, and quite frankly, all they really have to do is live. And Grecki, right now, he's getting in a really difficult spot, trying to throw in some purges, but he can't use too much mana. Flop needs to maintain his mana later on in the game. I think Baby Cakes and Grayson will probably be able to take someone down, but at this point, Chun-Li's just been on the back foot so much. He doesn't have the same sort of heal over time effects. If Grecki was playing the Restoration Druid, his throughput would be a lot higher. So this composition, I mean, the boys bringing in the Restoration Shaman, I feel like this is something they anticipated. This is something they prepared specifically for the Rogue Mage Druid to try to find an answer, because what they were running last week just didn't work with the Resto Druid. They need the extra offense, but it makes it really dangerous.
All right, how are they going to pull it off here? Stunned, no way out. Big damage potentially. Electric Karma available. Chun-Li holding on to it for as long as he can. Looking to reconnect onto Grayson. Grayson down below half. Now recovered by Flop. Touch of Death active. Big push here from Chun-Li. They need to net nice block with this. It's looking likely. Temporal Shield going to absorb the hit. Procking that Gladiator Safeguard and then likely healing Grayson back to full health in a hurry. Touch of Death does not net the ice block, and that is certainly putting the boys behind.
Yeah, the boys are in a really difficult spot here. They need to start making something happen. We're 2.5 minutes into the game. They still haven't got an ice block. Grayson's been able to kite. He's been able to run. Flop's mana's not doing great. He trinkets out. He's trying to, in desperation, to save the ice block, but Grayson's really low. Gladiator is actually a big ice barrier as well as the Iron Bark that will keep Grayson alive. still just trying to kite. And Chun-Li and Smexen, they know they're on the clock. They can't wait too long or it just becomes impossible for Gorecki to actually heal them up. The damage from the Frost Mage and the Assassination Rogue proves to be too much in late dampening for the Windwalker Death Knight. So they're on the clock, they're on the time limit. That's why they brought in the Shaman, that extra bit of offense, the Wind Shear, the Purge, the Grounding Totem. But it's a struggle. Chun-Li's having to play a lot more defensive than when he had the Restoration Druid healing him.
Yeah, this is a bit stressful for Gorecki. Counterspell available, Shadow Step Kick as well. These are all ways that Getchur Boy Dog could immediately end the game. They need to focus probably more on saving their cooldowns and their resources, though. The late game strategy of killing the Death Knight is what Cloud9 used to just totally wipe out the boys, make it look impossible to win. Right now, Getchur Boy Dog, they're playing a little bit aggressive, a little bit cheeky, and it may not be necessary. And if anything, when they're overextending for these pushes, they just make themselves an open target, and the boys could capitalize on that. Decent damage towards 2 players of Getchur Boy Dog. Flop trying to recover, going to innervate and use Overgrowth, the most expensive heal. Good combination of spells there by Flop, getting that maximum value on the innervate and furthering his mana lead.
I mean, we have to talk about what happens if the boys can't win this matchup. I mean, that's going to be devastating for them. Getchur Boy Dog can just run the Rogue Mage Druid, similar to what we saw Cloud9 run. I mean, what are the boys going to do? What is their answer? If the Shaman doesn't work, they couldn't find an answer last week. Their hopes of winning this tournament are going to be essentially zero if they can't win this matchup because they'll be eliminated. But even moving forward to the summer finals, into the next cup, Rogue Mage Druid is just so prevalent. They really have to try to figure something out.
Thugonomics Mage, Chun-Li Rogue, Gorecki Druid. I mean, you're laughing, but
Yeah.
it's I feel like that's something they should work on if nothing else is working, at least to prepare themselves for the summer finals, because if it comes down to just you have to play Rogue Mage, nothing beats it, then that's their only option. Grayson taking huge hits here. Iron Bark is going to be enough. Grayson recovers. Now they're counter pressuring Chun-Li. What cooldowns are they going to trade for this push? Earthen Wall Totem and Anti-Magic Zone. It's going to be more than a fair trade. Touch of Death available, same situation as earlier, so Chun-Li would like to get an Ice Block. When Iron Bark isn't available on Flop, this is when we see Chun-Li activate the Touch of Death and try and push for an Ice Block. Surprising to not see him commit it just yet. Grayson actually cold snapping there without using the Ice Block. That's it's a bit of a mistake. Chun-Li though could just die. Gorecki trinkets and Spirit Link Totems and barely saves him.
Yeah, Grayson traded out one of his Ice Blocks for no reason, but it might be okay for him. Right now, Flop, he did trade out his trinket. That's Iron Bark as well, and maybe the boys can look to punish this situation. I mean, there's no Temporal Shield, there's no Iron Bark. This is a perfect checklist. Often, you know, the checklist order. I don't know where I'm going with this one. Anyways, the boys
I'm not going
up
grocery shopping with you.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. The grocery list.
No, that's a horrible idea.
Oh,
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
You're just in there for hours.
All right, focus up, guys. Blind on Gorecki. Chun-Li in a lot of trouble. The follow-up zap. Chun-Li's running for his life. Baby Cakes, he's in hot pursuit right now, but Chun-Li, he's really good at these evasive maneuvers. He might be able to keep himself alive. He uses the Ring of Peace to deny Baby Cakes opening on him and single-handedly tops himself off despite the CC chain on Gorecki. Really good plays there by Chun-Li.
All right, Chun-Li stalling, saving his own skin there. Both healers almost out of mana, and this is where I would like to see Getchur Boy Dog slow down, hit the brakes, get some drinks, generate mana. Flop actually was trying to, but Gorecki sniped him with the Earthbind Totem. Now Flop jumps in to go for crowd control. Grayson gets follow-up. Chun-Li has to use a Touch of Karma. Is it going to be enough here for him to survive? Gorecki is still crowd controlled. They get the Cyclone out of the Polymorph likely here. Flop's trying to fake cast any potential interrupt. Cyclone secured. Chun-Li basically has nothing. He's Fist of Fury to try and dodge the attacks of the Rogue, but Grayson is able to get in line of sight, proccing the Gladiator Safeguard. It needs to be enough, but will it? Gorecki finally coming out of crowd control, but there's still interrupts for him. He needs to navigate through them. He may have the Spirit Walker's Grace. Looks like he's holding on to it. Now counter pressure. Chun-Li has held on long enough, and look at the pressure that Flop has to deal with.
I don't know what he's going to do. Temporal Shield rolling. Grayson trades out a second Ice Block, and this is dangerous for Getchur Boy Dog. Look at Baby Cakes. He's low as well. There's not many defensive cooldowns. The boys can basically pick their poison at this part. Do they want to go after Baby Cakes? Do they want to go after Grayson? You can see Flop has the trinket rolling up. He has the Iron Bark also, but at the same token, I mean, Chun-Li, he's in a lot of trouble. He's got the Fortifying Brew. He's got the Touch of Death. Grayson, how's he going to hold on? Iron Bark has to be enough defense Gorecki's almost completely tapped on mana. The same goes for Flop. We're at 20% dampening, and anything could happen on both sides.
Yep, things are going to get quite chaotic here. It's our last best of 5 of the day for North America. Elimination round. Getchur Boy Dog out of left field, knocking the move out. They've got the Rogue Mage Druid here for the boys. Can the boys overcome it? If the Shaman Windwalker Death Knight works for them, perhaps that's what they've prepared to try and take down Cloud9, because it feels like in North America it's all about who can beat Cloud9, who can beat the Rogue Mage Druid, or best them in the mirror. Perhaps Getchur Boy Dog advance and can take them in the mirror. Mew Mew Kitty Cats with their Rogue Mage Paladin as well could be a solid contender in North America. Flop, which mana are you going to get? It's a big question. He's sitting down again. It's not that much, but it's a lot more than Gorecki at this point.
40% mana is not bad when he was completely I mean, Gorecki's got no mana either, but we've seen Shaman hold on for a long time. Chun-Li caught into a stun. He's got the touch of karma. Is he going to trade it out? Immediately on Babycakes. He is not messing around. If he is still in trouble, Babycakes, he's just pushing through. The Gladiator Maledict is running. Chun-Li in so much trouble. A full Cyclone. He's crossing the map. He can't heal himself up. Safeguard procs Grayson, and Babycakes can't believe Chun-Li survives once again. Fortifying Brew. Spirit Link Totem drops out by Gorecki. I honestly feel like the Spirit Link Totem might have been a waste there. Chun-Li seemed to be fine, but now Gorecki loses that catch-up mechanic a little bit later on, and the boys don't have any defense left.
Full stun again on Chun-Li. Earthen Wall Totem from Gorecki. Looks like it's going to be enough for Chun-Li to stay alive, but he needs to connect to Grayson. 50 more seconds to that Cold Snap for him. He'll be able to reset an Ice Block. Flop has pretty much burned that mana that he was able to get earlier on, so he may need to look for a drink again or go for crowd control and just end the game. Stun into Cyclone secured. Chun-Li, what are you going to do? Ring of Peace knocks Babycakes away. Anti-Magic Zone prevents Grayson from finishing him off, but Babycakes is right next to him, chopping him up with those daggers. Chun-Li cycloned at low health. This could be the end of the match if there's any crowd control for Gorecki. Babycake's going to silence him. Move back over. Try and catch Chun-Li. Big and Venom, but now Babycakes is overextended. Chun-Li's trying to punish this overextension. Flop able to reposition and support. Babycakes can continue to pursue Chun-Li. Counterspell still available. Gorecki just waiting for mana to press Healing Wave at this point, but with dampening so high, it is becoming difficult for him to stabilize.
Touch of Karma up in 2 seconds. Grayson, though, he also has his Ice Block. Cold Snap just came up. Temporal Shield rolling on that Touch of Death. It's going to be a huge hit onto Grayson. There it is. He gets topped off. Nice Temporal Shield there by Grayson, but Chun-Li's done it. He's managed to weather the storm, and now with that Touch of Karma, he's going to be feeling healthy. Gorecki's been for so long, but he's still just keeping Chun-Li alive. The Riptide's really paying off here for Gorecki. Cheap shot on Chun-Li with the Cyclone over on Gorecki. Once again, Chun-Li is going to have to play defensive. He's going to try to survive the best he can, but if there's any monk that can survive situations like this, it is going to be Chun-Li. The Fortifying Brew is rolling. Fist of Fury over onto Babycakes. He's got the Karma. Is he going to trade it out? He's playing really greedy in this situation. Trading out Vivifies. Gorecki trying to keep him alive. Grayson almost has 2 Ice Blocks left, and that is going to be disastrous. Touch of Karma trades onto Grayson, but Grayson, he's just going to hold on. He's not going to trade out the Cold Snap Ice Block. He wants to play it patiently, and I really like that decision from Grayson. We are at 40% dampening, and at this point, Getchur Boy Dog, they could just go after Smexen if they really wanted to.
Yeah, they should have already.
Ice Block!
Grayson has the Ice Block. Getchur Boy Dog, they played a solid early and mid-game, but the game-winning strategy is just kill the Death Knight in dampening, so they need to switch their target. Now finally attacking Smexen, although it may be too little too late. Grayson on Hypothermia. The boys have an opportunity to try and push him over and take game 1. Can they do it before Smexen falls? Gorecki in a bash. Flop gets the Cyclone. No one's there to stop him. Smexen trades anti-magic shield. Chun-Li is low as well. Getchur Boy Dog could go after either member, but Flop is also struggling. His mana has not been retained well here into dampening. Babycakes is barely holding on to try and push for the kill. Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Smexen going to use Icebound Fortitude.
Spirit Link, 2
Spirit
seconds.
Link up in 2 seconds. Smexen cycloned at low health. Grayson trying to polymorph Gorecki. Gorecki wind shears it. Gorecki then moves in range to drop Spirit Link Totem, preempting the polymorph and trying to stabilize the team, realizing that healing at this point is basically impossible. It's going to be all about damage. Grayson going to Ice Block the Touch of Death off, immediately removing that damage while Flop sets for a drink. Chun-Li looks to stop it, rolling over with the spinning crane kick and denies the drink. Flop now in crowd control. Babycakes and Grayson both in trouble. Smexen equally so. Cross kill written all over game 1 likely.
Yeah, and we will see what is Smexton going to be able to do. Grayson has his Icy Veins, and they're not on him. He's just spamming Frostbolts. Big damage bash on Gorecki. Smexton, how are you going to live this one? Anti-magic shell in just 3 seconds. There's a stun on Babycase. Is he going to fall? Smexton goes down. Babycase, can he hold on with a polymorph on Chun-Li? I feel like Getchur Boy Dog is going to be able to reset, but of course they're going to play it out. We are 50% dampening. Flop's got no mana. Chun-Li's going to try to do it. Gorecki, Chun-Li, they're pushing in. They're going to look to take Babycase down, but it's just so difficult in this situation. Chun-Li leaves the game, and Getchur Boy Dog.
Stuff over there. Arcane's not very good, but we're going to have to see. Grayson is playing on this RMD. The boys, once again, going to go for the comfort pick. I think it's fair to say the DK Windwalker. The first game was close for sure, but I mean, if this is the best the boys have into Rogue Mage, it just seems like this is a Rogue Mage meta that the boys are just hoping disappears before the summer finals.
All right, let's see if the boys can overcome this hurdle here. Getchur Boy Dog's Rogue Mage Druid, certainly not to the same level as Cloud9. If they can't even take out Getchur Boy Dog's Rogue Mage Druid, then they're going to have to come back to the drawing board in terms of their compositions for the final Summer Cup and maybe even the Summer Finals as well. What can beat the Rogue Mage Druid? So far, it only appears to be itself. The boys are down in game number 1. Chun-Li has already traded significant cooldowns. The crowd control chain is continuing. Chun-Li trying to roll away to safety, catching a couple Vivifies, but Babycake's in pursuit. Shadow stepping over. Counterspell. This is dangerous for Gorecki. That is extra crowd control off the diminishing return. No follow-up, though. Gorecki sneaks in some healing surges and manages to bring Chun-Li back into the fight, although immediately beaten back down by the Frozen Orb. Gorecki trying to respect that with the Earthen Wall Totem. Getchur Boy Dog are certainly playing the Rogue Mage Druid more aggressive than we've seen a lot of Rogue Mage Druids in the matchup.
Yeah, but the question is, do they really need to? They're getting pressure onto Chun-Li, but it's also a dangerous game you play. Like we kind of talked about, if Grayson's committing his shimmers offensively like this is when he gets caught, and Chun-Li and Smexton can do a lot of damage. We see other Rogue Mage Druids play. They play a lot more defensive. Grayson can just sit back. He can just kite as long as he wants, and then eventually, if they make it a 30% dampening, Smexton just dies. So, Getchur Boy Dog, it's a risky game, but there's multiple times in the last game where they did take down Chun-Li. Maybe they want to play the aggressive game. Maybe they want to keep Chun-Li on the back foot, and it's definitely a possibility, but it's dangerous.
Grayson taking a lot of damage here. Flop going to recover. No Iron Bar for 2 seconds. They're trying to hold on. Now Chun-Li gets counter-pressured. Spearlink Totem from Gorecki. Big cooldown traded out early on, and this is, I would say, looking abysmal for the boys. Significant pressure consistently on Chun-Li. Shadow Step kick. Dangerous times for Gorecki. Touch of Karma has to be traded out. Babycakes is continuing to pursue after. Finally, some decent counter pressure. Smexton trying to carry the team with just raw damage. They interrupt Flop. Hard carry by Smexton here to get the first block.
Yeah, and Grayson will have to use that block. He gets out. He still has a cold snap available. Chun-Li on the back foot, still trying to run, trying to hide, but we saw the evasive maneuvers from Chun-Li in the last game, and he did keep himself alive for a really long time. Chun-Li has a lot of practice in those situations. Grayson now landing Polymorph after Polymorph on Smexton, trying to slow down the game. Babycakes may have overstayed his welcome. Chun-Li and Gorecki putting out big pressure there. Now Chun-Li moving forward, getting the damage rolling onto Grayson. Gorecki's mana is really low. Both healers almost completely tapped, but I mean, I feel like Gorecki went before dampening and lasted till 50% dampening at sub 5% mana in the last game, so maybe that's kind of a non-factor for the Restoration Shaman.
Flop is drinking. This is such a big mistake to let Flop drink. The boys select Hook Point because it's supposed to be almost impossible for the Druid to drink, and then they don't stop him. Now Flop has significantly more mana to continue the fight. He's stunned up, but so is Chun-Li. Gorecki going to respect the trinket out of blind, try and cast a healing surge. Babycake rolls over for a vanish stun into the polymorph. Beautiful crowd control by Getchur Boy Dog. Chun-Li pinned down by the Ray of Frost. Ring of Peace buying a couple of seconds, but the Gladiator Safeguard has been procced. The anti-magic zone has been forced, and they're still continuing the assault. Cycloning Chun-Li on low health. If they can rotate any crowd control over to Gorecki, it could be game over. There's multiple interrupts that Gorecki needs to be aware of. He's stunned up. So is Chun-Li. Does he have any way to escape? Cyclone secured. Chun-Li, what are you going to do? He double stuns, but Babycake's trinkets, fortunately, into a Cyclone that Smexton stole from Flop. That stolen the Cyclone, slowing down the pressure of Getchur Boy Dog.
Yeah, Chun-Li does manage to hold on. He held on to the Karma, so now he can make an offensive push with this Touch of Death. Grayson, there's no Iron Bark, there's no Temporal Shield. This is the exact moment when you want to be using Touch of Death as a monk. Grayson, is he going to be able to hold on? A lot of healing coming in from Flop. He got so much mana, he can afford to just overheal at this point. And as a result, Grayson's going to be able to hold on, not have to trade out an Ice Block just yet. Smexon's still in hot pursuit, though. Grayson looking for a Blizzard. Doesn't manage to really get it out at this point, so his damage is going to be limited. Trying to reset that Frozen Orb as fast as he can. Flop managed to get more mana back, but Greki's still just holding on to low mana. He's in a full polymorph. Now Chun-Li's in a lot of trouble.
All right, Chun-Li is in a lot of trouble. He's got cooldowns to trade, but he'd like to get away without making that exchange. Getchur Boy Dog setting themselves up for the late game, although Smexon, he has been on point, getting the first Ice Block, a lot of stolen crowd control that's building momentum for his team. Certainly he could be the X factor for the boys to find victory in a matchup that has been seemingly hopeless for them this entire season throughout 8.2.
Yep, Grayson still kiting. He's trying to run away. Earthen Wall Totem drops out for Gorecki, but Babycake's getting swapped to. Is he going to get taken down? Big damage. Evasion, feint trade out. Babycake should be able to survive. Cloak of Shadows as well. He needs to be really careful moving forward. He's got nothing left whatsoever. Now Chun-Li caught into a stunning pre-fortifying bruise. That's done to survive. Really nicely done. Gorecki trades out the Spearling Totem as well. Now Grayson on the back foot. Flop really falling behind. Trades out a Nourish. Grayson does manage to hold on, but massive damage coming in from the boys. Gorecki looking for some purges. Grayson getting low. A little bit greedy, but ultimately gets the Ice Block off. And now Grayson's in a situation where he has no Ice Block. The smaller map is allowing Gorecki to stay on top of Grayson. He can't really get away, so he's always susceptible to the purges, to the wind shears. And that is really overwhelming Getchur Boy Dog at this point.
I feel like Getchur Boy Dog are still just playing too aggressive. We've seen Cloud9. They just dampen. Do damage, don't die, avoid the fight, get to 40%, and kill the Death Knight. Time and time again, that's how they've found victory. I mean, honestly, Getchur Boy Dog are just getting ahead of themselves. They're just trying to get in too much. They're getting too aggressive. They're trying to be too fancy, and I think that could cost them a game, maybe the entire series. Just focus on avoiding damage, wait for that cold snap at 56 seconds, make sure Flop has a mana lead, and switch to Smexon and probably 9% dampening from this point in time. I feel like we already know the best strategy in the matchup, and Getchur Boy Dog are feeling like it's more important to play stylish, but when it's about winning, you don't want the style points, you want the winning points.
Want the winning points.
Yeah,
all right.
That's the best I could come up
All
with.
right, well, Touch of Karma trades out. They do manage to get that from Chun-Li. They have had good pressure this entire game. And like you said, they get the false sense of offense a little bit. Chun-Li, it seems like if he doesn't want to die, he's not going to die. So he's running away, he's hiding, he's got the safeguard, he's got the fortifying brew, should be able to hold on. Gorecki still somehow healing with just 5% mana. It seems like it never runs out for him. He's got unlimited mana at this point. He gets interrupted. Chun-Li in a kidney shot. A pre-fortifying bruise it once again. Really nicely done. Grayson finally in a situation where he's going to be feeling healthy with that cold snap rolling up. Full blind on Gorecki. He trinkets out. Wants to keep Chun-Li nice and healthy. Flop's burning through his mana. We're at 17% dampening. At what point, Sid, should they go after Smexon?
Well, I think 20% is when you start, but it's likely around the 30 to 40% where we see it nailed down. Flop, not with very much mana remaining. Counterspell by Grayson. Big opportunity here for pressure. No significant cooldowns. Gorecki is still crowd controlled. Smexon, though, with the anti-magic zone, has to be the defense. Chun-Li ports away. Babycake's chasing him, but not having an easy time connecting. Ring of Peace gonna bounce Babycake's away. Chun-Li repositions to use that Ring of Peace to avoid him, while Gorecki sits through crowd control. Actually, Frost Nova'd really far across the battlefield. Now into a Cyclone. Touch of Karma in 3, 2, 1. Diffuse Magic gonna be more than enough at this point in time. And Chun-Li has managed to stay alive by himself for Gorecki to sit through quite a long crowd control chain.
Yeah, but Gorecki really wants to hold on to the Spirit Link Totem. He cannot afford to trade it out just yet. He needs that for Smexon later on. If they go after Smexon, he's in trouble. Chun-Li in trouble. Babycake's getting low. Grayson as well. Temporal Shield rolling. Flop has some work cut out for him at this point. And you can see Babycakes. He has his Trinket. He has his Vanish. Chun-Li just soloing a massive burst damage from Chun-Li. Gladiator Safeguard does proc. That will keep Babycakes alive. That was a really nice attempt there by Chun-Li, but they didn't really get any cooldowns besides the Trinket proc. Baby Cake walks away, gets topped off by Flop, who's sitting in stealth right now. Kidney shot secured on the Smexen. And now at 26% dampening, Sid, they're going after the Death Knight. They're going to try to take him down. They get the anti-magic shell. And this is looking better and better for Getchur Boy Dog. And this is looking like a similar story for the boys. They just cannot close it out. Cyclone gets stolen into a stun on Flop. Good crowd control. Grayson getting low. He trades out the ice block. This is looking like it could go the boys' way. This could actually go to a best of 5 if we rotate on small and large maps.
Yeah, but counterspell lands. Grayson MVP play. Smexen, the Gladiator safeguard. Will it be enough? He's trying to hold on to the Icebound Fortitude. He'd like to get the secondary value of breaking out of a kidney shot, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on that long. Earthen Wall Totem not going to be too effective here at 30% dampening. Getchur Boy Dog have made it to the win condition to kill the Death Knight, but they made it with no mana and no block. So it's going to be high intensity, high stress for them, but they've got the momentum currently. Icebound Fortitude active. Is it going to be enough? Recky has Spirit Link. He's rolling in. He drops it. Manages to connect the entire team, and now the boys look to push back. He takes evasions to stay alive, but Grayson doesn't have that. No Iron Bark. Flop has Innervate, but even the free heals might not be enough. Temporal Shield is rolling. Grayson's absorbing all the damage. He's going to heal back. Baby Cake's now with nothing. Smexen very low. A pre-anti-magic zone onto the kidney. Trinkets out. Chun-Li goes all in for the kill as well, but now Smexen cycloned at low health. And this could be devastating if any crowd control rotates onto Gorecki. Counterspell available. Smexen is just getting crushed under all of this damage at the moment. Getchur Boy Dog looking good. No, Smexen's recovering. Flop moves in, gets the bash. Smexen, how are you still alive? Baby Cake's trying to connect, but the Ring of Peace is preventing him. He shadow steps over, lands the stun with a Cyclone secured. This should be it. Getchur Boy Dog move to match point.
I reverse sweep this against Rogue Mage Druid coming from Getchur Boy Dog.
All right, let's see if the boys can pull it off here with Nuclear Engineer Thugonomics. He's going to have to be dropping some big Chaos Bolts in this game if he wants to be able to pull off a victory for his team. But even if they do so, I mean, Getchur Boy Dog still have other compositions, although, I mean, really should they be playing anything else? The Rogue Mage Druid certainly the creme de la creme of compositions currently in patch 8.2.
It's looking good. Thugonomics is going to be a sitting duck, and this is just one of the problems with this matchup in particular, and why Zico kind of said if they win, it's based off individual skill and not really compositional advantage, because Thugonomics, as the game goes on, it is going to be really difficult for Gorecki to keep him alive. The Kleptomania spell steal coming in from the Mage. Grayson onto Thugonomics. Consistently in the game, with the amount of damage the Assassination Rogue's able to put out, eventually Thugonomics, his self-healing's not good enough. Gorecki, his healing's not going to be good enough, and the control from Flop and Grayson onto Chun-Li will limit the counter pressure potential. It's just really difficult, and I actually don't even necessarily agree with this map. I don't think this is a great map the boys set up for this matchup, to be honest with you, because Thugonomics, he's going to be caught in midfield. Grayson is going to be able to retreat to Flop. There's a lot of room for Grayson to Flop to kite around and control Chun-Li with. The only good thing, I suppose, is that Gorecki might be able to drink, but I just don't know if that's going to be enough of an edge for them to win this matchup.
Grayson pre-temporal shield while his healers in crowd control, but they're actually switching to Flop. The boys are trying to mix it up, bring some surprise here, and get your Boy Dog off guard, but they are certainly not being caught off guard right now as they push forward for another attack on a Thugonomics. They do manage to deflect it now. Flops into fear. How much can the boys get done with that fear? Chaos Bolt being channeled. Baby Cake's dispelled out though, and now able to interrupt, so unlikely to find too much pressure. Gorecki looks like he's maybe trying to pull very far away from the fight and drink, as he is anticipating this will be a long game. Both Druids certainly need to look to manage that resource mana as much as possible. Thugonomics bursted down low. They do manage to get the Gladiator safeguard. That's one defense out of the way of the boys.
Yeah, and slowly but surely they are sort of developing a lead in the match. Gorecki still with no trinket available. He's been trading it up for the blind. Thugonomics trying to get some pressure rolling. Chun-Li's been doing a good job. Sometimes as a Windwalker monk, you get tricked into thinking you can chase down the mage and get the pressure rolling, but unfortunately you cannot. So I like what Gorecki's doing. He's sort of deflecting Grayson to run away. And then once he does run away to the safety of Flop, he just abandons ship, comes back, hits Baby Cakes, tries to help Thugonomics develop some pressure in the match. And I think that's going to be the story. We're about 2 minutes away from a dampening in this match, and barring a big mistake, I feel like this match will end in dampening. Unless Thugonomics can set up a big Chaos Bolt, the problem is it's so difficult to do so when you have an Assassination Rogue, especially a Night Elf Assassination Rogue, tunneling you down, you're going to be able to get the Garrote Silence off the back of a Vanish, or off the back of a Shadow Meld. You have Kidney Shot, you have Kick, you have Counterspell, and they really have to have a good setup if they want to have any chance of landing those game-winning Chaos Bolts. But Getchur Boy Dog, with the way they're playing so far, it's looking good. A little bit of a swap here over on the Flop. He, of course, will trade out the Barkskin in order to survive. And now, if he just plays it defensive at the Pillar, he should be able to survive. Kleptomania Spellsteal is going to be rolling in from Grayson to slow down some of that healing that Gorecki has available.
Nice kick on Thugonomics right during Grayson's burst. Could have been a scary moment, but Gorecki recovers with Innervate, not spending any mana as a result. This game likely going into dampening, but the same liability for the Destruction Warlock as the Death Knight. When we get to that 30 to 40% mark, the Soul Leech healing of the Destruction Warlock, the Mortal Coil rebound healing is going to be significantly reduced. And when it is, Getchur Boy Dog are going to look to overrun the Warlock. In the early game, they still have potential to force cooldowns with extended crowd control chains. This is the advantages of the Rogue Mage. We see a good burst attempt here onto Thugonomics. Gorecki lining up some regrowths. One connects. Now going for the Nourish. The Restoration Druids that do play with Destruction Warlocks running the Spring Blossoms talent. As the Destruction Warlock doesn't really move, you see Thugonomics just waddling around. Gorecki can utilize the Spring Blossoms talent along with the spell Efflorescence, the green circle on the ground, to place that healing effect and get extra benefit for maximum health per second, which does allow the Warlock a lot more opportunities to stay alive into the later stages of the matches. But is it really an opportunity to stay alive into the later stage of the matches when you're almost certainly guaranteed to die at 30 to 40% dampening? I'm not too sure, which is why we've seen Method Orange make comments when they face Cloud9 that it's hopeless. It feels like they're just waiting to lose. So I would have liked to have seen a composition from the boys that's different than the ones that we've already seen from them time and time again. Perhaps they're hoping that Getchur Boy Dog aren't of the same caliber as Cloud9 so that they can overcome that based on their own individual skill, but compositionally they should be disadvantaged.
I mean, Grayson taking a little bit of burst right now. Thugonomics is moving forward, and they do manage to get the Ice Block. It's overlapped with the Safeguard. A lot of these mages, they have to be careful. I think mostly the best mages at that so far have been Wealthy Man, a lot of the European mages. They really rely on that Safeguard as a heavy defense. It's such a good ability. Overlapping an Ice Block with Safeguard is just a giant waste of Ice Block, in my opinion. It's just a massive safety net, especially since the buff's at 8.2. Really got to look out for that.
All right, Gorecki in a stun. No follow-up just yet. Chun-Li stalls it with leg sweep, and Flop actually gets swapped too. The boys trying to create some pressure there. Thugonomics can't back him up, so he's lobbing a Chaos Bolt off towards Grayson to try and create split pressure on two targets. Chun-Li at this point, he can't keep up the chase. He's going to give up on Flop. It looks like both Druids are maximum range from the fight. Gorecki off to the left side, I think off screen, is potentially trying to drink as we do get into the earlier stages of dampening.
Yeah, and dampening is ramping up. We're at 8% right now. If we look at mana, Flop has a lead, and that's a really good spot for him to be in. The Kleptomania is just so powerful, so mages can talent into an empowered Spellsteal. It's one of their honor talents, and basically put Spellsteal on a cooldown. However, you get to remove all heal over time effects, all magical effects on your target. And when you do that, Thugonomics becomes very vulnerable. Gorecki has to spend a lot of mana to put those heal over time effects back up. Gorecki actually sitting down for a drink right now with the full leg sweep onto Grayson. This could easily be his second Ice Block. He's in trouble. Ice Barrier trades out, massive damage incoming. Somehow he is holding on. Flop finds the heals to keep him alive. Now an offensive push onto Thugonomics. Bash over onto Gorecki. Thugonomics is in a lot of trouble. Big flurry combo by Grayson. Complete control of Getchur Boy Dog. What is Thugonomics going to do?
They get every single cooldown, and they cycle on Thugonomics at low health. I mean, this has to be game over. Perhaps Gorecki can recover right now, but it's not even looking too easy. Double Mortal Coil from Thugonomics buys them a few extra seconds. Comet Storm comes crashing in. Baby Cake String gets to reconnect. They know there's no Iron Bark. Vendetta and 12. That Vendetta should surely seal the game. Flop gets stunned up by Gorecki. Flop trying to sneak in a Hibernate, blind on Gorecki. Gorecki trinkets, but Vendetta is just a ticking time bomb to Thugonomics' demise here. As soon as Baby Cakes connects, he should just press it on cooldown before Ironbark is available. Flop going to pre-Ironbark the incoming Chaos Bolt. Baby Cakes is having a tough time reconnecting though, entangling roots and snared up, having to now pop his evasion. He actually is not able to connect before Ironbark is available. Now perhaps he's going to have to wait until Gorecki is crowd controlled, but they have the game-winning scenario. Baby Cakes overextended. Baby Cakes could be potentially throwing. He wasn't able to connect the Vendetta prior to the Ironbark, was extended in crowd control, and now he's trying to connect, but takes a huge amount of damage, and Thugonomics actually escapes the Vendetta. That was the game-winning cooldown, and it's not going to net them the kill. The boys get a couple extra minutes on the clock.
Yeah, 21% dampening. At what point is it going to be unhealable for Thugonomics? The boys are running out of time. They have to continue this push. They need to try to get more ice blocks from Grayson, or just get a big one-shot attempt. Temporal Shield's going to be bouncing Grayson to full. Big heals coming in from Flop as he trades out his Ironbark. And look, Chun-Li's in a polymorph. Flop can back him up with a Cyclone if he needs to. Baby Cake slowly doing work over on the Thugonomics, but Gorecki's been managing to keep him nice and healthy at this point of the game. There's a kidney shot. Do they have a Kleptomania? It doesn't look like it just yet. The boys struggling. They need to try to find an answer. Windwalker Death Knight just didn't work at all, so they're trying this composition out of left field. Thugonomics on the Destruction Warlock. If there's any Destruction Warlock that could do it, it would be him, but Baby Cake's actually in some trouble. Safeguard procs, Cloak of Shadows as well. Grayson traded out an Ice Block to save Baby Cakes, and I really feel like the boys might be able to capitalize on that mistake. Infernals, Dark Soul coming up. The boys might be able to claw their way back into the series.
But if they go onto a smaller map, will the composition work? Big crowd control chain here, initiated by Getchur Boy Dog, but Baby Cakes is being intercepted. They need to respect the interception and then push forward. Luckily, though, Gorecki pre-Ironbarked the incoming crowd control. That is the only reason Thugonomics is even alive at this moment in time. The boys buying every single second on the clock that they can, but I'm not sure how much time they are going to need to take down the Rogue Mage. Finally, some pressure onto Grayson. Flop will recover him, but now they're switching back to Baby Cakes. Baby Cakes anticipating it, activating the feint prior to the stun. Not trading out the
Vendetta.
Battalion, though. Vendetta available again, but is only a 10-second window until unending resolve. Baby Cakes would have to pull the trigger on that almost immediately. Potentially they go for Smoke Bomb Vendetta. They could just go for the all-in. They pop the Vendetta. Why would they not use the Smoke Bomb also along with it, try and stop some heals? Thugonomics going to call in the Infernals. This is a bold move by Thugonomics. He's playing a game of chicken with Vendetta versus Infernals. Which cooldown's going to deal more damage at this moment in time? 2 Chaos Bolts lobbed out towards Flop, potentially.
Shadow Meld.
Not going to be able to land one. Flop Shadow Melds it. Now Thugonomics, he's running out of ammo. No unending resolve. Very low on soul shards. Gorecki Ironbarks him, but Baby Cakes wasn't actually connecting. This Ironbark may not have been needed. Now the boys have no defense. Grayson has a block. Baby Cakes has more than enough, and Getchur Boy Dog have a slight mana lead.
They're blind too.
And they've got a lot of cooldowns. A lot of cooldowns to work with.
Should be it.
There's the full blind. What percentage of dampening are we at? 36% dampening. Full Ring of Frost. Thugonomics, how are you going to get out of this one? He's trying to counter pressure with Chaos Bolt. He gets interrupted. There's really nothing he can do in this situation. But Gorecki gets out of the crowd control. Finally, another Cyclone lands by Flop. Chun-Li getting controlled. Mage, Druid, domination. Cyclone right now on Thugonomics. And this is just looking like a complete and utter disaster for the boys. Getchur Boy Dog, they're about to close out this game. I would imagine. I don't know how Thugonomics is still alive. Finally, a counterspell lands, and for the last 30 seconds of that game, Getchur Boy Dog